Your Honor, we just have Ms. Crump on video that we can play next Thursday. I don't have my BlackBerry. I sent Mr. Stewart an email this morning about Ms. Reynolds. As long as we can go outside the scope with Ms. Reynolds when they call her, we have no more video, and I don't know if Mr. Stewart...
Okay, that's fine, but that means if there's any motions to dismiss, you will have rested subject to someone else. Without making any comments about motions.
I understand that, Your Honor. And,
but we'll deal with it. That's fine. We'll deal with it. If I'm inclined to be granting such a motion, and don't anybody read anything into that, I would take into account you've got another piece of evidence, and I'd consider what that might possibly do to such a motion.
Well, and I have to tell you that if that did come up, I would want to reopen and call her. And,
understood. I completely understood.
So I'm not calling her in my case in chief, and for some, go ahead.
You know, just to be heard on this point while it's being raised, the plaintiff had an opportunity to call her in their case, and they chose to try to rely upon a deposition for a person who doesn't qualify under Rule 33.
I think I threw a wrench in that I didn't need to throw in. I understand the situation. What?
I can't make her appear. She's not an agent of Sally Beauty. She is unavailable. So I will either play the video.
I don't know if that helps or hurts you.
I will either play the video or get a stipulation from Mr. Stewart.
Listen carefully to what I said. I think I threw an unfortunate wrench in that I shouldn't throw in. If you have that stipulation, I think that's an orderly way of proceeding.
And we may do that. I just haven't had a chance to talk to my client about it. I got the email at 4 this morning.
Okay. Well, as we wait for juror number 8, Ms. Nair, are there other things we can address now? Anticipating any evidentiary issues coming up? It's about now that I start focusing on jury instructions, you know, on my own, and then we'll have a hearing on all of those. Yes?
Dr. Jacoby, my survey expert, is about to testify, and I'm not going to, I never actually try to introduce the text narrative of reports. I just don't do that. Some parties do that.
But I am done, sometimes on real estate appraisals, but rarely.
There are some charts in there, and I've already advised Mr. Stewart, albeit at 4 this morning. There's some charts in the report, and I can show them to everybody on the monitor. It's just going to be the chart with no, and I will move in the pages with those charts, and they'll be redacted when we put them in the juror notebooks, and the jurors will only see the charts, and these charts are statistical data that we collected as a result of the report. If those charts are independently subject to objection, we can take it up, although I don't understand why they would be, quite frankly. But
what did you say?
You know, I turned here to see the transcript, and I must say, Denise, I have something out of memory, and the pop-up won't go away, and I'm getting nothing live.
Close it all out and open it up and hit connect. I think just because we have all our transcripts open over there.
Yeah, the out of memory is locking everything out. Okay, so you're saying you do want to introduce an evidence charts, is that right?
yes, Your Honor, and I'll show you one right now. And
Sorry.
yes, I will. Go ahead. Exhibit 259, page 47.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Your Honor, here.
Hold on one moment. Let me just say, your brilliant words of the last 45 seconds were not captured on the record. Do you want to repeat any of them?
Yes, and I will be brief. Your Honor, we intend to introduce charts and data that Mr. Jacoby collected and relied on informing his opinion, and I would prefer to make my examination smoother. In my experience, the introduction of data like this is relatively routine. It appears in this case it may not be routine, but this is the results of the survey, and Mr. Vaughn will only show the jury the chart, so none of the narrative at the bottom, and that's data he collected and relied on, informing his opinions. It's also the statistical data that that both experts are arguing about.
Okay, so you're going to want to move the admission, and did you identify it as an exhibit number?
It is Exhibit 259, page 45, and then I will want to move in.
Okay, so let's get the response of the defense to that one.
Yeah, I don't have any objection to this being used as a demonstrative, but I think it's hearsay. The information specifically created for this lawsuit is not evident.
Okay. My tentative, and I'll hear it further as it develops, my tentative would be to allow that shortened portion that you had up there a moment ago. That would be my tentative. Next.
Your Honor, and then we also...
No, I must say, you may have observed coming in and out, we just finished a big criminal trial with lots and lots and lots of accounting evidence and summaries. And, you know, those got admitted, and in many ways, you know, they're similar to this. But go ahead.
The other things we intend to introduce are the actual survey deck, which shows the questions that were asked the survey recipients and the data that he collected, some of which, very little of which actually I'll refer to. But those fall into the same category. That's information he collected. It's also relevant to show what the survey respondents were looking at. And quite frankly, I think the other side will want to introduce those as well, because the jury is entitled to see what, if the surveys are going to be attacked because the survey recipients looked at the wrong thing, the jury needs to see what they looked at. So I intend to move that in as well.
That's not on the screen. Response?
With regard to the deck, I've told Mr. Parker already I don't have any objection to that.
Okay, and I apologize for that.
Okay.
And with regard to underlying data, I do believe that's hearsay. It's inadmissible. It's not evidence. It's created for this case. And unlike the financial data, that's data, I would assume, that's created and kept in the ordinary course of business. The business is relied upon.
There were summaries, compilations, and...
But then you have summaries and compilations of that, Your Honor, of data that is generated and relied upon in the everyday course of business. This is a survey specially done for litigation with...
No, these, I shouldn't have brought up the other. These were specially done for the litigation to summarize vast amounts of accounting data.
But my point, Your Honor, being this survey was not part of the regular course of business of Ms. Pitt.
I'm just saying, maybe I shouldn't have brought it up. The summaries and compilations were done for the litigation.
Now, what we're talking about with this information, these are summaries, again, done for litigation. I don't think that's proper evidence. Also, then, I think there's another exhibit that Mr. Parker wants that we haven't seen yet that has the individual responses of each survey respondent. I think that's hearsay.
How are we doing this, Brad?
Oh, yeah, she was shaking.
Okay, well, good news. The late juror is repentant, shaking, and worried that the district says it's going to yell. So are you ready to go?
Yes.
I've heard your arguments. Good arguments on both sides. If they come in, I'll make a move. That preview was done. So I think we're ready.
All right. Meeting come to order. This court is again in session.
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get right into it. As I said, we will be finishing around noon today, and then we'll see you back here Thursday at 9 o'clock. So you've got some time off. The attorneys will have some time off and a chance to get ready. And so, plaintiff will now call the next witness, please.
Your Honor, the plaintiff calls Dr. Jacob Jacoby to the stand.
Please
please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. If you'll be seated, please. If you would state and spell your first and last name.
My first name is Jacob, Jacob, and my last name is Jacoby, Jacoby.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Jacoby. Could you please describe your field of expertise?
I'm a consumer psychologist. I study consumer behavior.
And could you tell the jury your educational qualifications to practice in that field, please?
I have a baccalaureate, a master's, and a doctorate in psychology, and my doctorate is also minored in statistics and sociology. Those were granted in the mid-'60s, and since then I've been studying, 3 years in the Air Force, I've been studying consumer behavior ever since then.
So Air Force after undergrad?
No, after I got my doctorate, I was assigned to the National Security Agency during the Vietnam War. When I left active duty in 1968, I went to Purdue University, where I was a professor of psychology and eventually head of the consumer psychology program.
Right. So, and I heard PhD in 1968?
PhD formally granted in 1966. I finished everything in 65 when I reported for active duty other than the dissertation, and so it was granted in 1966.
Have you taught any courses that are relevant to your field of expertise?
Yes, I've taught doctoral research methods, consumer behavior, intro marketing, advertising, and related courses over the 40-some-odd years since then. And
have you written any articles that are relevant to this field of expertise?
I've published over 160 articles, almost all of which have to do with consumer behavior, a number of which are in law journals having to do with consumer behavior and trademarks. I've also published 6 books which are on the very same subject, based on reports from the National Science Foundation, based on reports for the American Association of Advertising Agencies.
Are you working on any books now?
Yes.
What are you working on?
Well, I've just completed a book for at the invitation of the American Bar Association on trademark surveys, which should be out early in 2013. Actually, it's more than a book, it's a multi-volume set. And I'm working on a technical book on a subject called generalizability theory, which co-author and I are working on right now.
All right, and is that directly relevant to the type of work that you did in connection with this case?
Generalizability theory definitely is. It's how far can you generalize from the data. You usually test a sample of a few people on what have you done so as to enable yourself to generalize from your data to the population at large.
Has any of your academic work been cited by other academicians with respect to this field?
Yes, for a period of 20 years. I was the most cited consumer researcher in the world based on and you have citations to some literature on that. In fact, based on my work, I was recently identified by Sage Publication as one of 5 legends in consumer behavior. They'll be publishing most of my work as a 9-volume set. I've received countless number of honors and awards for my research in the area of consumer behavior.
And are you a member of any professional organizations that are relevant to your field of expertise?
Yes, quite a few, the most important of which are the Association for Consumer Research and the Society for Consumer Psychology, both of which I was a past president of. And
how does your education in psychology and your PhD help you operate in this field? How is it relevant to it?
Psychologists use experimental design to test for causation. When you're studying for likely confusion, which is the case here without getting too technical, You have to study and parse out what could have been responsible, what likely was responsible for causing confusion. In this case, we have two issues. We have what's called the trademark, which is the name, mixed silk, and we also have the trade dress, which is the configuration of the bottles, the color, the containers, the colors, and what have you. So experimental design is used to parse out those factors.
And I apologize, I think I've got your report coming up here. Have you ever done what's called a likelihood of confusion survey in the past?
Several hundred.
And several hundred, you said, surveys?
Several hundred likelihood of confusion surveys,
Okay.
probably well over 500 at this point.
And what about consumer surveys generally? How many have you done in your career?
Probably close to 1,500 now, if one can include my academic research, scholarly research, as well as the research I do for purposes of litigation.
And how have some of those consumer surveys been published for critical peer review by other academics?
Virtually all of them have. I mean, of my 162 articles, probably 140 have undergone peer review and have been published in the toughest journals in the field. In fact, the two of my articles on having to do with trademark law, having to do with trademark psychology, have been published in the two leading journals that publish law journals, law reviews that publish articles on trademarks.
And how long have you been doing consumer surveys?
I started doing surveys while in the Air Force at the National Security Agency, but the consumer survey started in 1968 when I when I was a professor, began as a professor at Purdue University. And
let's talk about likelihood of confusion surveys that have been used in litigation. How long have you been in that field?
The very first likelihood of confusion survey I did was in 1970 for the National Football League. So how long, what is that, 42, almost 43 years.
And have you done work exclusively for plaintiffs?
Excuse me.
Yes, go ahead.
I had a decade. The first one, I'm sorry, was in 1980, so likelihood of confusion studies would be from 1979, 1980 through now, so that's more like 33 years.
Only 32 years, then.
Only, yes.
Have you done them exclusively on behalf of plaintiffs or defendants? And I'm talking specifically here about your likelihood of confusion survey.
No, about 50-50.
And have you testified in court regarding such surveys?
I have.
And how many times approximately have you testified?
If one counts depositions, which is submitted before courts, I would say probably close to between 150 to 200 times. If we talk about just court testimony, well, it would actually be more than 200 now. If we're talking just about testimony in courts, it would be around 100.
And has a court ever rejected your offer of a report or testimony based on your qualifications?
Not based on my qualifications.
And what percentage of the time, approximately, have your survey results been accepted by courts?
Around 80 to 85% of the time.
Over 32 years?
Over 32 years.
All right, so
you're obviously in the qualification stage, and therefore I need to make a determination. You said accepted. That's ambiguous.
All right.
Received by, approved by. And we're going to call qualification. I just wondered what you meant by accepted.
Sure. And have you ever been received by a court as an expert witness? Excuse me. Has a court ever failed to accept you as an expert witness based on your qualification?
No.
Has a court, have any of your opinions, after you've been accepted as an expert, or have any of your opinions been rejected by any court?
Yes.
And what percentage of the time, approximately, has that happened?
Well, it's interesting because sometimes the court will criticize one part of the survey, but then accept the whole survey, the remainder of the survey. But I would say I've received criticism sort of in the area about 15 to 20% of the time. Nobody bats 1,000 in any sphere, and I don't.
Why is it that some of those opinions have been either criticized or, as you described, partially rejected or otherwise addressed by court?
Well, frankly, in a lot of instances, it is some courts want something one way, and other courts want it another way, and the courts themselves disagree. So, if you happen to do it one way, for example, there's an issue with respect to sponsorship approval, with respect to confusion as to authorization of sponsorship. More than 30 courts have accepted one way, and in fact have changed the burden of proof in trademark disclaimer cases based upon the formulation that I've used. Yet 3 courts said no, they wanted a different way, and those 3 courts have criticized me for not doing it the way they want.
Are you a lawyer?
No, I am not.
And but even though you're not a lawyer, it sounds like you have to try to keep track of what courts around the country are saying about surveys.
I do.
So, in the work in this case, did you conduct a survey in this case?
I did.
Your Honor, I'd like to offer Dr. Jacoby. Oh, actually, Your Honor, one more thing before I do that. Can you look at Exhibit 253, Dr. Jacoby?
I'm good if I had it.
We'll bring that up. 253, please. And we're not publishing this. I suppose while Mr. Wexler is doing that, I will, Your Honor, offer Dr. Jacoby as an expert in the area of consumer confusion, likelihood of confusion survey.
Like to blood the witness?
You may blood the witness.
Should we address the issue of 253 first, Your Honor?
We've got a bit going on here. All right. What would you like to address?
I believe Mr. Parker is going to ask the witness about 253. Probably ought to cover that before I do blood here.
Okay.
Dr. Jacoby, what is Exhibit 253?
It's my academic curriculum vitae.
All right, and is it accurate, true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
As of the date posted here, January 1st, 2012, it is.
Your Honor, I will not offer that at this point, but I wanted to get that marked and identified, and if Mr. Stewart wants to voir dire, I'll...
All right, 253 is marked and identified. Voir dire.
Good morning, Mr. Jacoby.
Good morning.
I'm sorry. So 15 to 20% of the time you said your surveys have received criticisms, is that right?
From minor criticisms to major criticisms, that's correct.
And some of those major criticisms, in fact, led to complete exclusion of your surveys, didn't they?
They did. Those are the examples that I talked about where some courts wanted it one way, whereas the majority of courts wanted it the other way. And when I went with what the majority of courts want and with logic, and following what the Supreme Court has issued in its Dalbert ruling, not to do junk science, the courts didn't.
Next question.
In the National Football League Properties v. Pro-Style case, you had a survey excluded, didn't you?
I did.
And when courts issue opinions on your studies, you read those opinions, don't you?
I do.
Are you familiar with those opinions?
Very familiar.
I assume this probably hit fairly close to home after you put a lot of work into a survey.
You get right.
And in the National Football League Properties case, your survey was rejected by that court twice, wasn't it?
No. Well, it rejected the survey based on the permission question, again, which I talked about just a moment ago.
Okay, thank you. But your survey was, you submitted 2 reports to the court in that case, and the court rejected your reports both times. Is that right?
That is correct. It was the same survey. It was not a different survey.
Right. Yeah, and that's right. And if I wasn't clear, I meant to be clear on that, and I appreciate that. And in rejecting your opinion, that was the Chief Judge of the Eastern District of Wisconsin who wrote that opinion. Are you familiar with that?
I am Judge Stadtmuller, and he wrote it in contrast and misrepresented what the Judge Posner had said in the prior case.
Next question.
Right, and so you do believe that the judge in that case engaged in misrepresentation in his opinion?
No, he didn't check the facts. He requested and received a statement of facts from both counsel. He never went back or had a clerk go back to check the facts, and he accepted a statement of facts that was substantially in error.
And you believe that Judge Stadtmuller engaged in deception in excluding your survey, don't you?
No, I think he was hoodwinked by the attorney.
Now, in that case, didn't the court say Jacoby apparently has not learned from his mistakes, which, contrary to plaintiff's assertions that Jacoby's surveys have been universally relied upon and have never been rejected by a court, seem to be numerous?
That's an example of where the court misrepresented what was stated. And I hope I'm asked to give an explanation of that. That's where he was hoodwinked.
And the court then, in rejecting your survey the second time that it was presented, wrote, the court concludes that Jacoby's survey, even as edited to avoid the court's earlier criticisms of it, is seriously flawed. Is that right?
That's what the court...
Hold on. Now, that one, is that right, is an ambiguous question.
All right. The court wrote, didn't it, what I just said? The court made that statement about your opinion in excluding it?
The court did write that. That is correct, but the court was incorrect insofar as science is concerned.
All right, and you also had a survey excluded in Cargo Global, the Advanced Magazine Publishers, is that right?
That is correct.
And in Novo Nordisk, of North America, the Eli Lilly, you had a survey excluded?
Wrong. The court excluded one portion of the survey, accepted another portion.
It excluded all but two questions of the survey, I think that...
Yeah, it didn't exclude the survey. It excluded some questions. That was the first court that raised the permission controversy. And contrary to what an earlier court had said was already established law in the Second Circuit, went off on a totally opposite tangent. And no one could predict that after 30-some-odd courts had accepted the permission question...
This answer is not responsive.
You may ask your next question.
All right, now, you've also had some surveys that, although accepted, the courts have decided to give little or no weight to the results of those surveys.
On occasion, yes.
All right, and the case Smith v. Walmart is one of those cases?
Yes.
And in that case, did the court, in deciding to give your survey little weight, say the survey Jacoby conducted for Walmart is of dubious value as proof of consumer confusion, both because its survey universe was over-inclusive and because its design failed to approximate real-world marketplace conditions?
That is what the court wrote.
And in Weight Watchers v. the Stouffer Corporation, you also had a survey that the court decided to give no weight to. Is that right?
Yes.
And in that case, the court wrote, didn't it, it is obvious that Dr. Jacob Jacoby, a veteran of the trademark litigation arena and the creator of the Stouffer survey, constructed the study specifically to disprove consumer confusion regardless of participants' reactions to the advertisement.
That's what the court wrote, but that's totally incorrect. And I hope I get given an opportunity to explain.
You may or may not, but that'll be up to Mr. Parker. But you agree with me, don't you, that that is, in fact, what the court said in rejecting your survey?
Correct.
Or giving it little weight. And it found that the flaws in the universe design and interpretation of the study undermine its probative value and deserves no weight in measuring actual confusion.
That's what the court wrote.
No further questions?
There remains a pending motion? Correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. It is the court's conclusion that this witness may offer opinion testimony. Go ahead.
All right. Dr. Jacoby, we'll circle back to the issues that Mr. Stewart interrupted with shortly.
Now, he does have a right to interrupt, so interrupt implies an impermissible intervention.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Every right to voir dire experts. Go ahead.
All right. We will talk about some things courts have said about you in a little bit. What was the work that you did in this case?
I designed the survey and had it implemented, and then I analyzed the results, wrote up a report.
And let me ask you a question about surveys, which is a little bit out of order, but what should a judge or a jury look for in evaluating the validity or credibility of a survey in a case like this?
Well, there are a bunch of criteria that are set forth in a Federal Judicial Center manual, and it has to do with, there are 7 criteria, one of which is the universe. Are you looking at the proper types of people? The second has to do with the sampling. Have you selected members of the universe appropriately? A third, very important one, has to do with the questionnaire. Are the questions fair and not leading and not ambiguous, etc. Another one has to do with the actual implementation. Another one has to do with the analyses. Another one has to do with the objectivity of the survey. And another one has to do with the qualifications and capabilities of the person doing the research.
You mentioned the Federal Judicial Center. What is that?
Well, the government, we have the legislative branch, the executive branch, the president, and the judicial branch. And the judicial branch, consisting of the federal judiciary, has an educational arm, which is called the Federal Judicial Center in Washington, and they issue manuals for judges and obviously for attorneys to look at. They conduct seminars, annual conferences for judges, and they do research on the judiciary as well.
And have you ever lectured to the Federal Judicial Center?
Yes, I've been invited on occasion.
The witness has already been qualified as an expert. This is just more qualification testimony. It's time to move on.
To finish the answer, yes, I've been invited by the judiciary to. In 1995, at the annual workshops for federal district court judges and magistrates in several cities, Atlanta, and I forgot the other one.
And the Trademark Surveys the Trademark Surveys book that you're in the process of writing, who invited you to write that book?
The American Bar Association came to me to write that book. And I should mention, they came to me in 2009, which was after all of these criticisms that have been raised. And clearly they had many other people they could have gone to.
All right, and have you been have any surveys noted the quality of your scholarly work?
I don't think I understand your question. You mean in terms of the work I've done for them, or the work I've done independent of the work I do for litigation?
Well, have there been any studies about how often your work is cited, is my question.
Oh, yeah. There are several studies.
And generally, how often is your work cited?
As I said, for a period of 20 years, I was the most cited consumer researcher, either in psychology or in marketing or in any field in the world's scholarly literature. That's well documented. I'm also the most cited survey researcher there's a 6-volume tome called McCarthy on Trademarks and Unfair Competition, which is the most recognized authority on trademark law. And I'm the most cited survey researcher in that text. You can check it.
You can check it. It's not a proper response to a hearsay objection, but the objection's overruled. Go ahead.
And Dr. Jacoby, and what was the Wells Fargo case?
Wells Fargo, It was a case where they were objecting to certain pop-up advertising online, and I was called in not to do a survey in that matter, but to critique the survey.
And now, where was that case?
In 2003 in Detroit.
And was that in the Eastern District of Michigan?
Yes.
All right, and in that case, did that court say, quote, counsel also cross-examined Dr. Jacoby on a handful of cases in which his findings had been criticized, suggesting that Dr. Jacoby had intentionally, single quote, rigged a survey to get a particular result, close single quote. I've read those cases, and I've read cases that laud Dr. Jacoby's credentials and research. I do not find it surprising that a witness who has testified in over 100 cases has been criticized from time to time, and find Dr. Jacoby is a highly qualified expert and highly qualified and well-recognized expert in consumer confusion and survey evidence. Is that what the court said?
Yes.
Right now, Mr. Stewart mentioned the words chief judge as to, I believe, the NFL properties case.
Well, I've been involved in a number of NFL properties cases, but do you mean the one against Profile?
Yeah, the one that Mr. Stewart was quoting.
Right.
Okay. And chief judge implies that he. Well, let me ask you: do you know? Would it surprise you to learn that one becomes a chief judge by virtue of length of service and not by virtue of being able to be in charge of other judges or overrule other judges?
Your Honor, Mr. Parker's testifying.
It's sustained, and whether he's surprised or not does not really advance the ball, to make a pun, maybe.
All right, I just got that one. All right, I think I've talked enough about that issue. Your Honor, I would like to move Exhibit 253, Dr. Jacoby's academic curriculum vitae, into evidence.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
Dr. Jacoby, we've mentioned a lot of your qualifications. Is there anything in your academic, is there anything in your background, and keeping in mind that we are on a tight schedule, anything else you'd like to mention in terms of your qualifications to conduct these surveys?
I'm one of the most awarded, in terms of science, scholars in the field, and have been for 20 years. I've been appointed or elected to fellowships, which is accorded to 1% of the membership, say, in the Association of Consumer Research. I mean, you can look at my record. I'm surprised that it's considered hearsay, but so be it. I might as well. When the FDA decided it wanted to...
Let's stop there.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about this case and the work that you did in this case. What firm retained you to do the work in this case?
Your firm.
And have you worked for my firm before?
Never.
Have you ever worked for me or any of my people on my team before?
Nope.
And how much time have you spent putting together and conducting these surveys, these surveys that you've done?
Well, it was not only my work, but the work of my subcontractors. But if you consider just my work, in doing this particular survey, it probably came close to 100 hours before I wrote up the final report.
And what did you set out to study? I'm sorry, you set out to study, I think you've already testified, confusion between mixed silk and mixed chicks?
There was confusion between those two products, and if so, to what extent was there confusion?
Right. And did you find that there was a percentage likelihood of confusion?
I did.
And let's look at Exhibit 261, which is part of your report.
I'm sorry, I don't have...
Yes. Mine has arrived a little late this morning, Your Honor. I apologize for that. In that binder, there's Exhibit 261, which we will not be publishing. And what were your principal findings in this case?
Well, we had to sum it up overall. There's one number that comes out, and that's 41.2% likelihood of confusion after we subtracted out the controls.
Okay, and is that called a net overall confusion rate?
That's exactly what it's called.
Okay, and is that a combined confusion rate between the trademark and the trade dress?
It is.
And can you explain now to the jury, just as an overview, and then we'll start drilling down, how you set about to study the likelihood of confusion between the mixed chicks products and the mixed silk products at the trademark and trade dress?
The first thing I did actually was to take a look online at the various products, take a look at the photos of them, and then think about the requirements of the case, and then set up the whole study design, develop the questionnaires. Basically, the study involved, these days, most marketing research, or the overwhelming majority of marketing research, is done online. Approximately 45% of marketing research is done online. Approximately 6% is done as in-person mall intercept interviews. Most people are online these days. Whether they buy online or not, it's not as relevant. The issue is if they're online. So I designed an online survey, and I set up a situation that was a reasonable scenario where two women were talking, where one woman with naturally curly hair was talking to another one with naturally curly hair. They could have been sitting at lunch, in a restaurant. One could have been at the other one's home and saying, your hair looks great. What do you use for it? I've been using conditioner and thinking of changing. And so in that scenario, the second woman picks up a bottle of the Mixed Chicks conditioner, shows it to a friend. And then at some point later, the friend decides to check it out online, take a look and see what it says, and goes online and goes through a whole series of screens at Sally Beauty, because that's what comes up first when you put in beauty supply companies in Google. That's the first one that comes up, and it says it's the world's largest. And so we just followed the screens that naturally came up when you went to a Sally Beauty site and you drilled down to take a look at the specific types of conditioners. And then we showed them what appears on those sites, and then we selected several of the products to show them more specifically, one of which was the mixed silk product. And we asked does this product come from the same company? Not does this product, do any of these three products come from the same company as the shampoo that your friend recommended? And if they said yes, which one are ones? And they showed us which one are ones, and overwhelmingly they showed us the mixed silk products from Sally Beauty.
All right, Dr. Jacoby, let's talk about the survey universe, and you define the survey universe on page 13 of your report, which is exhibit 257 in your notebook. And how did you define the universe?
Objection, Your Honor, he's going to read from his report. This is hearsay.
Overruled. Sir, I'll make the evidentiary rulings in this case, all right?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry for my expressions.
Go ahead.
It's not 257. I'm sorry. It must be.
I'm sorry. It's exhibit 259. And I do apologize. We had a logistical problem this morning. Why don't I bring you also your copies of the report, which we have here in case you need to refer to the appendices.
Thank you. But we can put those right there.
All right. So, Dr. Jacoby, the question was, how did you define the universe for your survey?
Basically, I sat down and I thought what was required, what was necessary, what kinds of people should be in there. And, I could read it, I wrote it, but basically it set up age parameters. I took people over the age of 16 who had naturally curly or naturally wavy hair, and that was important, who bought hair conditioner for themselves, or I took other people in the household who may have had straight hair, but had members of the household who did have naturally curly or naturally wavy hair, and they did buy the hair care products for those individuals. I took some males because, based on what I had read, a small proportion of males did purchase these products, but I overwhelmingly, 95%, took females who had naturally curly or naturally wavy hair, or bought hair conditioner for themselves, or had straight hair and bought naturally those conditioners for someone else in the household who had naturally wavy, naturally curly hair.
Okay, and you keep saying naturally curly or naturally wavy. Why the word naturally?
Well, people can have curly or wavy hair because of a permanent, and under those conditions, they would not be buying these kinds of conditioners, these kinds of products. They'd be buying different products.
And how many, did you cap the number of males that were allowed to participate in the survey?
Yes, at 5% of the final number.
And approximately how many participants did you end up with in participating in the survey?
Over 800, I think 832 or 62, somewhere in that range.
And is that a sufficient sample to obtain a statistically valid result?
Definitely.
And you mentioned an internet survey,
yes,
which is what you did. Why do you believe, just conceptually, that an internet survey is a reliable way to do the survey?
Well, for a number of reasons. First off, it has become the dominant approach in marketing research for surveys outside of litigation. When Procter & Gamble does a survey, when Toyota does a survey, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, these days marketing and advertising researchers use internet surveys to conduct their research. Another reason is that they are more representative of the population as a whole. I also still do on occasion moral intercept studies. And when you do moral intercept studies, you usually end up, as did Mr. Johnson, the expert on the other side, testing, say, in 8 cities around the country. The cities aren't representative of the states necessarily.
Let me stop you there, because you and I are jumping in midstream to these issues. And who is Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Philip Johnson is an expert who did a survey for Sally Beauty, and he will be testifying, I believe, next week.
And as part of the discovery process in this case, did you supply reports to counsel for Sally Beauty?
I did.
And were you deposed?
I was.
And then you also had an opportunity to receive Mr. Johnson's reports, correct?
Yes.
And critique those?
Yes.
And you understand that Mr. Johnson was also deposed by me?
Yes.
And so now we're here to present our testimony. So you, one of the things you mentioned about Mr. Johnson was he did a mall intercept. Can you describe what a mall intercept is? And let's take a brief summary of it.
Your Honor, I just have a procedural issue to the extent that Dr. Jacoby is talking about Mr. Johnson's survey, that is, as a rebuttal expert, and this is coming in case in chief. I don't have a problem with that, provided that Dr. Jacoby is not going to be called in the rebuttal case as well.
I will not yet put that limit on.
Right. And I'm going to simply ask you, Dr. Jacoby, as we go to mention differences between Mr. Johnson's survey and yours, so that we can explain briefly that difference. What's a mall intercept study?
Mall intercept, there are almost 500 malls around the country that have testing facilities inside them. These are used by different companies to test out consumer response. I mean, if you want to test out a new version of coffee, or if you want to test out the aroma of a perfume, or if you want to test out advertising, what happens is the interviewers will intercept people who are walking through the mall, ask them a bunch of questions to see if they qualify as people who should be asked the main survey, invite them in to participate. Not everyone who's intercepted agrees to participate, even if they're qualified. But ultimately, you have a certain proportion that come in, and you provide them with the advertising or the product, and you ask them questions, and that's what you do in a mall intercept study.
All right, Dr. Jacoby, you mentioned a geographic difference between an internet study and a mall intercept study.
Yes.
And how that would just distinguish your report from Mr. Johnson. Can you briefly describe the difference?
In my study, what we had was representation from people in 46 of the 50 states, in proportion to the people in the states, across the whole state. Now, we weren't tied to a particular locale, a particular city. I mean, New York City is totally different from most of New York. If you do a mall intercept in New York City, if you do a mall intercept in San Francisco, it's totally different in a way than people in San Diego or people in LA or people in Orange County. So our survey gets people from all across the state. We've got people from 46 states as opposed to Mr. Johnson, who tested in 8 cities in 8 states. Also, as I said...
Dr. Jacoby, let's stop there. All right, so you set up an internet study, and you described to the jury the structure of the study, at least in concept. Is Exhibit 257 a copy of the screens that the survey recipients actually saw?
It is.
All right, and is this, I'd like to move Exhibit 257 into evidence, Your Honor.
No, Jessie.
It's in evidence.
All right, so let's take a look, Dr. Jacoby, at, and can you describe conceptually how this survey worked in terms of walking the survey recipients around different paths that led to them being in different survey cells?
Again, what happens is there are these firms, companies that have these internet panels. And these panels consist of 1 million to 3 million people, say in the United States. And you specify what kinds of people you want, and they will send invitations to a certain number, not to all, say, 1.5 million, because they would be inundated. They may send out, say 2,000 invitations if you want of 1,000 people. And the people will either, agree to participate or not agree to participate. If they agree to participate, then they are sent to a particular site, and if you go to page 4, that is where they would land.
All right, and so let's look at page 4. All right, and that's the first page, and Dr. Jacoby, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. This asks if they wear eyeglasses, asks them to put them on, and then they go forward?
Yeah, and ask them to maximize their screen, thanks them for agreeing to participate, maximize their screen when they're ready to proceed, and hit next when they're ready to proceed.
Okay, and then they go to a slide that asks them if they're using the right type of computer to actually view products, correct?
Right.
Okay.
We only accept people in the top 2, traditional desktop or laptop. We don't want anyone taking this, say, on a mobile phone or something like that. We want the size of the images to be large enough.
All right, and then the next page, they get qualified based on age and gender to see if they are in that survey universe.
That's correct.
And that's Exhibit 257, page 6. And then the next page, you ask about the hair quality, right?
Right. How would you describe your natural hair? Again, emphasizing natural. Is your hair naturally straight, naturally curly, naturally wavy? If they say other, I would not, rather not say, they're skipped out at that point.
All right, and Mr. Johnson doesn't ask about the naturally part?
That's correct.
All right. Then, of course, if they answer, let's back up. So they have to answer yes to the first 3 of those to continue?
Right. If they say naturally straight, they're skipped to one set of slides. If they say naturally curly and naturally wavy, they're skipped to another set. Okay,
and then they go to the next, everybody goes to the next slide, they get to continue on in the survey?
No, the people who said they have naturally curly or naturally wavy hair skip to this slide. And they're asking you, does someone else in your household buy the hair products such as shampoo, conditioners, highlighting? you use for your naturally curly or naturally wavy hair, and we need the people here to say, I sometimes or always buy the hair products. We don't want people who don't buy the hair products themselves.
All right. And then the group that answers yes or clicks I sometimes or always buy the hair products I use, where do they end up?
They end up on page 12.
Okay. And now there's another, so let's go to page 12. And without viewing the slide walkthrough, so people who say I buy, always buy, or sometimes buy, they end up on this slide. There's another group that eventually ends up on this slide. And what other group is that?
Those are the straight people with straight hair who live in households where there are people with naturally wavy or naturally curly hair, and they're the ones who say they buy products for those people.
Okay, so they kind of take a detour. The people with straight hair take a detour, and do they get asked if they buy hair for anybody in their house that has naturally curly or wavy hair?
Yes, they buy hair products.
And then if they do, they end up back over here.
Correct.
And at this point, you would have your survey universe of 892, is that correct?
No, we still have a few more questions which will whittle people out.
Yeah, so you still gotta pare it down. So then they're clicking a box here, or a series of boxes, and what questions are they asked?
Well, they're asked about if they buy shampoo or hair lighting products or hair lightening products. Those are distractors. We're only interested, and they only go forward if they say hair conditioners, because those are the products that we're testing.
All right, and if they answer yes to that, they get to keep going, for better or worse.
And the next one is the important one, that's 13, that's getting at prospective purchasers. Whether for yourself or for someone else in the household with naturally curly or naturally wavy hair, during the coming 6 months, are you likely to buy? And again, they have to say yes to hair conditioners, because the key thing is the prospective purchaser. Okay,
and then anybody that answers that yes gets going to slide 14, which is page 14 of Exhibit 257, correct?
Right. There they're asked about the types of conditioner they buy, and they have to respond that they buy either leave-in conditioner, deep conditioner, or ethnic conditioner in order to proceed. If they buy a volumizing conditioner or smoothing, etc., then they don't count. They're not included in the survey.
All right. And the people that answer deep or leave-in continue?
That's correct.
And what slide did they go to next?
Question 45, do you sometimes go online and use the internet to see what certain hair grooming products cost or to see if they're available at certain stores? This didn't knock anyone out, but it simply asked people if they went online to check products out.
Okay, and you mentioned page 45 of the survey. Is that on your screen right now?
Yes.
And that's Exhibit 257, page 15?
Correct.
All right, now, did you track the people that answered yes to the question, do you sometimes go online and use the internet to see what certain hair grooming products cost or to see if they are available at certain stores?
Yes.
And why was it important to track that percentage as part of the work that you were doing?
It was important to track that and the very next question.
All right, and let's focus on this question, okay. and we'll
because you need to see whether there's any difference between the people who did go online and the people who didn't go online. And when you analyze the data, there's virtually no difference. The results are statistically insignificant. Okay,
so you collected the data and you relied on that data in the process of forming your opinion?
Right.
All right. Let's take a look at the document that, and by that I mean you, we're not going to publish it at this point, but Exhibit 260, page 39. And we'll get you on page 39, but first let me ask you, what is Exhibit 260 as a whole?
This is the data output from the respondents.
This is all the statistical output from the respondents to the survey?
That's correct.
And did you examine, collect, and rely on this data in the process of forming your opinion?
I did.
Is this data that experts like yourself normally rely on in forming the types of opinions that you formed?
Almost always rely on.
Your Honor, I move Exhibit 260 into evidence.
We say, Your Honor?
What we addressed earlier.
It is not. Well, tangentially it is, Your Honor, but not directly.
It's not as voluminous. Is it safe to say, without me looking at every page, that every page has similar information with no extraneous information or notes?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Then it's admitted based on that representation.
All right, Dr. Jacoby, let's take a look at Exhibit 260, page 39. And is that the percentage breakdown of the people that answered yes to the question, do you sometimes go online and use the internet to see what certain hair grooming products cost or to see if they are available at certain stores?
Yes, and I'll point you to the very leftmost column that says total. Over there you see there were 862 respondents, of which 61.4%, 529 of them, 61.4% said yes to the question, go online to check out products.
Right. So let's turn back to the survey. There was another question you asked about internet behavior amongst the survey group on Exhibit 257, page 16, which was the next slide that they would go to, correct?
Yes.
And that one asked, do you sometimes use the internet to buy hair grooming products?
Yes.
And what percentage, did you determine the percentage of people, or do you have data in Exhibit 260 that shows that percentage?
Yes.
All right, and is that on Exhibit 260, page 40?
Yes.
Let's take a look at that. Is it located in the same place for Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Blow up for us?
So you can see 43.6%, 44% round out. It said they do buy products online, they do buy hair grooming products online.
All right, so 61% look online to either buy or find stores. 43.6 of this group actually buy.
Right, and when you combine the two, what you end up getting is around 70%. I think it's 69.8%.
And combine the two, because I took 3 hours of statistics and then swore it off for the rest of my life. When you say combine, most people would say, well, that would mean add. So when you say combine the two, what do you mean?
What you mean is account each person only once, regardless of how many times they said yes to these two questions. So you don't double count them.
Either or.
It's either or, and you get up to 70%.
All right, so let's get back to the survey. The next question you asked them seems kind of strange. It asks them to select blue from a list, and then they get a list of words to select from. What's the purpose of that?
The purpose of that, usually it's somewhere, believe it or not, somewhere between 5 or 6% of the people who are not paying attention, who are just going through this thing willy-nilly. And this is designed to catch those people.
All right, and then next you have a question about whether they participated in other surveys. Why do you ask that?
It's traditional in litigation surveys to make sure you're not interviewing people who have recently been interviewed about the same subject, because you'll know whether or not that other interview would have contaminated them for this one. So that's a standard question.
All right, now let's fast forward. We're going to fast forward to slide 23. Is it fair to say that before slide 23, you ask them where they live and whether they have glasses or contacts and to put them on and things like that?
Correct.
Okay. Why do you ask the question that's on Exhibit 257, page 23?
Well, here at this point they've now qualified for the survey. And we thank them, and we tell them what the survey's about. The survey, which is about beauty products, takes about 10 to 12 minutes, so they know what to expect, and includes some open-ended questions that ask you to type in your answers there at their computers. We need you to take your time, carefully type in thoughtful and complete answers to these questions. If you're in a hurry or otherwise not willing to do that, we respectfully ask that you end the survey now. And they're given two options. One, they're willing to take the survey and type in careful, thoughtful, complete answers, or they're in a hurry and would rather not participate.
All right, and if they proceed on The next slide, which is on page 24, you ask them, not to guess.
This is a very important slide. We don't want
Why is
guesses.
it so important?
We don't want some guesses. We want them to feel relaxed. There's always a don't know option. And if they feel they can't answer a question, we want them to say, I don't know. And that's okay. They can just go on to the next question.
All right, so now they're in. What products did you look at to determine likelihood of confusion? Not the accused products, but actually both. What types of products?
Looked at the leave-in conditioner and the deep conditioner for mixed chicks, and corresponding leave-in conditioner and deep conditioner for mixed silk.
Okay, and the why not shampoo?
Shampoo is very similar in the same logos, the same names, the same bottles, the same configurations. We're doing 2 out of 3 with the results so consistent with 2 out of 3. Given the similarities in shampoo to these two, you can project, normally done, from the data you have to what's likely to occur had you tested shampoo. There was no justification for having additional expense to go forward with testing shampoo.
All right, now let's look at the leave-in. So we're going to look at the deep conditioner path. And on page 25, you had described earlier to the tell a friend scenario to the jury. Is this hear from a friend scenario? Is this the hear from the friend scenario?
It is.
Okay, and can you read what that says, please?
Please suppose you and a friend who had naturally curly hair were discussing hair conditioners when your friend pulled the following conditioner out of a shopping bag and recommended it highly.
Slow down a little bit for the benefit of the court reporter.
Okay.
I do it myself, so.
As best you can remember, had you heard of or seen this particular conditioner before today?
Okay, and if they answer no or I don't recall, they're out of the survey?
No, they're still continuing.
Sorry about that. Okay, and if they answer yes, they're out.
No.
They're in. We're just tracking that.
We were just tracking that so that if we need to analyze them separately. Also notice that they can, over on the right, it says roll mouse over product to enlarge. If they wanted to, they could put their mouse on the product and it would expand so they could read everything in detail.
All right, and slide 20, so the next slide actually shows that enlargement, so let's look at slide 27, page 27 exhibit 257. And that tells them to spend as much time as you like. Why did you put that in there?
We didn't say as they like. We said, please spend as much time looking at the conditioner as you would if you genuinely valued your friend's opinion and were seriously considering whether or not to buy this conditioner. If they would only spend 5 seconds, that's fine. If they spend 25 seconds, that's fine. We wanted them to know they genuinely valued their friend's opinion, and they were thinking maybe not to buy this conditioner.
All right, and then they end up on slide 32, on page 32 of exhibit 257. And what is that slide? This is the second part of the scenario, so to speak. It says, suppose sometime after speaking with your friend, you decide to go online to look up information on hair conditioners. We're now going to show you a sequence of screens that could come up if you browsed and looked at some conditioners. Slow down, please, Dr. Jacoby. My apologies. Right. I recognize that we are under time constraints, and I'm getting ahead of myself. My apologies to the recorder. Please read and follow the yellow instructions at the top of each screen. Look at each screen as long as you want, and click Next when you're ready to advance. If you want, you can click back to review what you've already seen. All right. So off we go. And is this intended to depict an internet page? It is. It's the actual page. It's a photocopy, and we've just inserted what is being highlighted now. What we've had, in fact, if you could just raise that, Mr. Vaughan, please, a little bit, because somewhere here, what they've typed in is beauty supply companies, all right? And this is what happens when you type in beauty supply companies.
The very first, what's called organic site, not the advertising site, is the Sally Beauty Supply product. And it says Sally Beauty Supply is the largest retailer of professional beauty supplies in the world. And so it seems natural, if you want to check out this product, you go to the largest beauty supply company in the world.
All right, so and there's a note at the top that instructs the user. Imagine you select Sally Beauty, and then you go to the next.
They click it and they go to the next slide. So they select Sally Beauty, and on the next slide, if you go to the left-hand column, you'll see right over there, you'll see shop beauty supplies, and they give different types of supplies. And under hair, they have shampoo, they have conditioners. You can click any one of these, hair color. So suppose you're looking for conditioners, you check and you click on conditioners. What comes up next? This is the actual Sally Beauty, and nothing's been modified. This is what actually comes up. So you.
And just to be clear, it was what came up at the time you did your survey. Is that
correct?
So we just looked at page 33. We're now on page 34. What happens after the click on conditioner?
Again, if you go to the left-hand side, you see a bunch of types of conditioners, and there are deep conditioners, and we told them they were looking up deep conditioners, and these are the people who said they bought deep conditioners. Also notice toward the bottom you have leave-in conditioners. For the people who looked at the leave-in conditioner, they would have that highlighted, and they would click that. But in this run-through, we're going for the deep conditioner people, and now they click on that. So they get to the next page.
All right, and that is page 39 of Exhibit 257?
Yes.
All right, and what is depicted on that page?
It's not as clear here, perhaps, but you have three columns. One on the left, then under deep conditioners, this is number for page 12, and there are several pages. And then recommended for you on the right-hand side, in the right-hand column. If you can just highlight maybe the deep conditioner portion and the in the center. And maybe go down just a little bit more to pick up that. Thank you. The very first thing that comes up is Silk Elements Mixed Silk on the Sally Beauty page.
And that was an actual result at the time?
This is the result. We did this over several days. It actually came up. This page, as it shows above there, showed the first 12 out of 26 products for deep conditioners. Notice, I want to point out in the lower right, there's another one, L'Oreal Nasal Therapy Fortifying Treatment. You can see the bottles on here, the containers on here had all different kinds of shapes. And when we selected controls, we took things that were as similar as possible to the Silk Elements container so that it would not stand out like a sore thumb.
All right, and at this point, can you explain what a control is?
Right. Okay. Let me explain it this way. Suppose in the medical arena, suppose somebody, laboratory comes up and says, "Hey, we just came up with this wonderful drug. It's going to ameliorate. It's going to lessen pain of cancer patients." And they administer it to cancer patients, and they have the patients check a scale afterward. Did your pain lessen? And 40% of them said, "Yeah, it lessened." Wow, that sounds like an amazing drug. But what happens if you use what's called a placebo, the exact same drug except with this ingredient that's supposed to have the pain lessening ability, and you pulled that out, and you gave a different group the placebo, and you asked them the same question. Suppose 38% of those people said, "Yes, it lessened my pain." Well, the difference between 40% and 38% hardly, it's not significant. It would mean really that drug had no effect. That was claimed to have an effect on lessening pain. What really had the effect was the fact that these people were being asked to participate in a study and answer a question. There could have been many reasons for it, but we know it's not the drug. So you have to always, maybe a better way to put this, you guys ever hear the stories of one-armed fisherman who caught a fish this long? That doesn't tell you very much. It's got to be compared to what? And that's what the controls are, compared to what? And that's the function, the purpose of a control.
And So they end up on, so that you inserted controls, we'll take a look at the next slide, and we're going to jump forward to 79, which is 79 in the course we're walking through, where the next stop is?
Yes.
Okay, and again, eventually you ended up with 8 different survey groups, so this survey just branched off into 8 different areas as people went through it, right?
Right. And it's even more than that, because I didn't mention it, but in all these questions, so as to what's called counterbalance for order effects, half the time we had the one or more, like in this question, appear first, and half the time none appear first. So that whatever effects there might have been due to order of asking the response options washed out. They counterbalance each other.
Okay, so an order effect meaning people who tend to click the first or the last.
Some people have a tendency to click the first, some people have a tendency to click the last. These are well-known tendencies, and this counterbalances for them.
Now, also, at the top, can you just identify by the type of product, control or accused product, what's up there?
Yeah, what you have, now, again, they've looked at...
Excuse me.
Sorry. I'm just trying to make a clear record, Dr. Jacoby. We're on page 79 of Exhibit 257, and if you could please identify what's at the top there.
Yes. Bear in mind now, they've looked at the whole page with all the products, the 12 products, and now they're saying, looking at the conditioners shown on this web page and thinking back to the friend with naturally curly hair who recommended the conditioner, which of the following describes what you think? And over there, one or more of the conditioners on this page comes from the same company that put out the conditioner your friend recommended. None of the conditioners on this page come out. Now, this is a full filter question, and it's designed to be conservative, to lean against your client's interests, frankly. If they say none of the conditioners come from the same company, they're skipped out. They're not asked the next question, which is the confusion question.
All right, and can you describe at this point what a full filter question is?
Yeah, this is an example of a full filter. They're trying to, what we're trying to do is give people an option of being skipped out and not being asked subsequent questions. If it cuts against your side, it's a very conservative thing to do. The Federal Judicial Center's reference manual on scientific evidence recommends against using full filters.
Next question, if you wish to explore that, you must formulate a proper question.
This is actually...
The line beginning the Federal Judicial Center's reference is stricken.
Okay, so...
But understand my ruling.
I do understand your ruling. So a full filter question, that is, I mean, it sounds like it means what it says, right? It fully filters out some group.
Yeah, people know that, hey, if I say none of the above or I don't know, I'm probably not going to be asked more questions. So if I want to get out of it, that's all I do, is I check none or I don't know.
Okay, so on this slide, it sounds like we've got another detour, because one group will go to a certain slide, and then, so the people that say none, they get filtered out, but you don't get rid of those people. They go somewhere else.
That's correct.
And answer more questions.
Correct.
Where are the people that go, they answer one or more? Oh, and I'm sorry, I don't think we fully established for the jury, the product on the top, is the accused product, is that always in a certain place, or do they rotate around?
No, we had 3 different conditions. Sometimes, well, 1/3 of the time it appeared in the first slot, which is where it actually appeared on screen on the Sally Beauty site. But 1/3 of the time it appeared in the middle, and in the last third of the time it appeared in the right-hand side. These containers were mixed. And again, notice that the containers were deliberately selected so that they were comparable. They weren't tall tubes, they weren't spray cans, there weren't any of these things. They all were comparable to make it more difficult to pick one out.
All right, and so what's the people that answer or that click the question, click the item, one or more of the conditioners on this page comes from the same company that put out the conditioner that your friend recommended. Why did you say put out there?
Well, because we understand what put out meant. I could have said made by, but we really don't know who makes these things. You have no idea who makes many of the products. It could be made by some firm in China and shipped over here. And if asked, who makes this product, one more of the conditions comes from the same company that makes the conditioner your friend recommended. Well, that I don't know. I don't know who really made it. I know what label it's put out under, what mark it's put out under, what company puts it out, but I don't know who makes it.
All right. And is that a point of disagreement between you and Mr. Johnson, by the way?
It is. He uses makes and I use put out.
All right. So people who answer one, they click that one or more, they end up on slide 107, correct?
Yes.
All right. And so what does slide, page 107 of Exhibit 257 ask?
It says, please use your cursor to select the conditioner or conditioners. They could have checked more than one. You think come from the same company as the conditioner your friend pulled out of the shopping bag and recommended.
All right. Now, do these also rotate around?
Yes, they do.
And by that, I mean the three products depicted there, there's a primary position, a secondary position, 1, 2, 3. They move all around between those slots.
Between across the respondents, a third get the silk elements in the first slot, a third get it in the second, a third get it in the third.
And if they click silk elements, mixed silk, which in this particular example appears to be in the primary position, do they end up on the slide depicted on page 109 of Exhibit 257?
Yes.
All right, and then they're asked to make comments?
Yes.
All right, and those comments are recorded?
They are.
And did you supply a list of the results of the answers with a coding key and these verbatim responses? Did you include that in your report?
I did.
Take a look at Exhibit 262. And what is Exhibit 262?
If we could have it up, I'll be able to show.
Well, we're not going to
okay.
show anybody anything yet. Why don't you
take
one step at a time?
262 are the things that the people typed in at their consoles while they were answering this question. Remember, we asked them, they'd have to type in answers to some open-ended questions, and they'd have to be thoughtful, give thoughtful responses. These are the answers that they gave.
Okay, and what was the purpose of getting those verbatim responses?
Basically to see why it was that they thought the product they identified as coming from the same company came from the same company. What were the reasons they gave?
All right, and why do you need to do that to do your work?
Well, that sort of is the nail, the final nail. When you analyze those verbatim responses, it will tell you what's going on, why they were confused. In other words, the prior question shows they were confused. They said, hey, I clicked on this one, I think it comes from the same company. And that's confusion. Now we want to know, why are you confused? What are the reasons, to the extent that you can describe them? And that is the reason for this question.
Dr. Jacoby, what's a false positive?
A false positive is something that looks as if it satisfies the criteria, but actually doesn't.
Did the verbatim responses assist you in determining whether you had any false positives?
Yeah.
And in fact, after you delivered this survey, there was one false positive of the 800 or so survey recipients total that you had you reclassified, or you could reclassify based on a verbatim response.
Actually, right? After my deposition, where that was pointed out to me, I went through all of them, and I found approximately a half dozen or so that could be reclassified, some for us and some against us. But 6 people out of 862 isn't even 1%, so it would have no material impact on the findings or the conclusions.
Prior to writing your report, did you review the verbatim report and informing your opinions? Did you review the verbatim comments?
Yes.
To assist you in determining what your opinion was?
Generally, yes.
And did you rely on them in forming your opinion?
I did.
And are these verbatim responses in the chart? There's an appendix, Exhibit 262. Is it information that an expert like yourself would normally review and rely upon in forming opinions like the ones you've formed in this case?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move Exhibit 262 into evidence.
Objection, hearsay.
Response?
He relied on it in the course, and it's evidence that an expert relied on, and therefore it should be admissible, Your Honor.
And I believe you have other arguments as well. The objection's overruled.
All right, Dr. Jacoby, take a look at page 2 of Exhibit 262. And now, this particular coding set, there's a code key actually, and I apologize, on page 1, there's a code key that lists some codes. Let's look at question 157 at the very top of the code key. And what does question 157 say?
That's the question we were just referring to. In particular, what is it that makes you think this conditioner comes from the same company that put out the hair conditioner recommended by your friend?
Okay, now, so that is a question that gets asked of someone who has already clicked the mixed silk product.
Yeah, it's asked of, regardless of which product, for each product that they clicked. In other words, about 5% clicked one of the other products.
All right, perfect. And then what's depicted on page 2 of Exhibit 262?
If we can go back, I can explain that.
You need to go back to page 1?
No, page 2.
All right, I'm sorry. You also have it in your binder.
Okay. Take a look across the top. If you could do the top and a few of them, that's fine.
Let's just do the first half, Mr. Vaughn, so that the jury can see what, and I mean first half, left to right, and about 3 rows. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. The Q represents the question number. It was question 157. The CD represents which group it was in. There were 8 main groups. The ID is the individual respondent number. And then we had the way you handled verbatim responses, because people use different words to explain different things, and we don't all use the same words to explain the same thing. In order to make sense of it, what we do is a process called coding. The coding plan is, I believe it should be, at the end of this exhibit. Yes, it is. At the end of 262. I don't know if you can put that up, but that'll describe which of 12 numbers. Perfect. That's it. So if a person mentioned mixed, they got a number 1. If they just said same name, they got a number 2. If they said similar name, which isn't quite the same name, but similar name, they got a 3. If they mentioned other mentions of the name in their answer, they got an NFS, which means not further specified. They just described it in general. And then, so there are comments that refer to the name, 1 through 4, and comments that refer to the container or appearance, 5 through 12. Same container or same type of container or same bottle, a similar container, looks the same appearance, looks similar appearance. Just mention the container or package or shape, or other mentions of looks would be 11, and then anything else was number 12. So if we can go back then to page 2 of this exhibit and do the first third or so of all of them. No, if you can do the whole page and go down, that's great. You can see this first respondent is under ID. He's respondent number 10,005, or she's respondent actually in this case. And they got a code 7 and a 10 and a 1. Now a 1 is, it said mixed chicks. You can take a look what they typed in. This person typed in, when asked why do you think it's the same, it has the same colors and size. It's also called mixed silk. The one I saw was mixed chicks, which could be a variation of this brand shown.
All right, and are there any other, let's take a look at the comment, and if you could just grab the top third of the page and cut it in half on the right-hand side, Mr. Vaughn. So there you go. Thank you.
So the very next person, when asked, why do you think so, and they say from the word mixed on the tub. The next person said the descriptions are similar. That wasn't counted as an indication of confusion. The next person said the word mixed makes me think of the first product. The packaging looks similar, so they're referring both to the name and the packaging. The next one put in like would use. That wasn't counted as an indication of confusion. Next one said same results. That's not counted. That's one of those other responses. So 12. Next one said the mixed logo.
Did you say other responses 12?
Yes, code 12. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
The mixed logo to the left. Then same bottle container. Same type of container. The color of the jar, the design, also the description of what it is used for is basic, the same thing as the recommended brand. Same type of packaging container, name sounds familiar, and as you go through, you'll have quite a few who say mixed. The bottom one, they both, that's probably a typo that said HACE, it should be HAVE. They both have mixed as the main caption of the container. They are also both white and fairly short containers with some orange text.
Now, so you use these codings to tabulate the statistics that you mentioned, at least in broad strokes, at the very beginning of your examination.
That's correct.
All right. I want to show the jury one more thing before we talk more about your conclusions, and then we'll wrap up. Take a look at Exhibit 258.
I'm getting a little feedback. Can you make sure you're saying something?
And what is Exhibit 258, Dr. Jacoby?
258 shows the 8 conditions, what the product they were shown for, what product they were shown up front as the friend recommended. And then it shows the products that were used when we asked which, if any of these come from, well, first we asked, do any of these come from? And then if they said yes, we said which one or more of these come from the same company.
Let me ask, does this Exhibit 258 show that the panels of different products that were shown to people?
Yes.
Generally speaking, the 8 paths that they went?
Yes.
Okay. So does it have mixed chicks products on it?
It does.
And mixed bilk products on it?
It does. And
then control products?
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to look at an example Your Honor, and this is actually a compilation of the test panels that the survey recipients saw.
We did.
Your Honor, I move Exhibit 258 into evidence.
258 submitted.
All right, let's put it up. Let's look at row number 5. And let's catch, Mr. Vaughn, just the left-hand half of row 5 so that we can see it. Thank you. All right, so this is a particular panel. What was this panel designed to test, Dr. Jacoby?
This one was designed to test the different trade dress. As you can see, first on the left, they were shown the Mixed Chicks Deep Conditioner. And then after they went through looking online, they were shown, went through the slides, and they were shown made-up products. The made-up product being the brown one that you see here. It's not, it says Mixed Silk Nourishing Deep Conditioner. It's got the same name, but it's got a different trade dress.
So it's testing to see, what's it testing with respect to, let's start with trade dress. Is it testing anything with respect to trade dress, or is it a control?
No, it's testing basically the trade name. If they're just going to focus on the Mixed Chicks and Mixed Silk.
Okay, so acknowledging, and just so, acknowledging that there's a test panel there, let's just blow up the Mixed silk, the two mixed silk trademark-bearing products that are in that survey. Okay, so on the left is the, excuse me, I misspoke. In any event, we're depicting now the Mixed Chicks product, right, on your left, correct?
Correct.
And then is that the Mixed Silk logo on a jar there?
On the right.
On the right, and but it doesn't look like the Mixed Silk product?
Right. If you go up further in that column, you'll see what it actually looks like.
Okay, so how does this test for trademark but not trade dress?
Well, we've changed the trade dress, we've changed the color, but we've left the name, Mixed Silk, the same. If you go up to 3, great. I don't know if you can blow it up anymore, but you see on the left the Mixed Chicks, the way it normally appears, but on the right, it's not Mixed Silk, it says Swirled Girls,
Okay.
Girlz.
So Mr. Vaughn, please just grab the jar right on the left there. All right. Hang on, Dr. Jacoby. You're talking about a Swirled Girls control?
No, we're talking about Swirled Girls, and then there are two controls adjacent to it.
Okay, so let's take a look at row 7.
Okay.
All right, and you were talking about Swirled Girls?
Right, that one, we've changed both the original look of the container, different colors, etc., different lettering, and we've changed the name. That's the full control. So if you remember the one-armed fisherman and taking a look at the placebo, the question is, what happens if how much confusion do you get when people look at the Mixed Silk as it's normally sold versus how much confusion would you get if we changed the name Mixed Silk, in this case to Swirled Girls, and we changed the container so it wasn't pretty much the same color configuration. That's the control.
All right, now let's take a look at the statistical results, and I'd like to direct you to Exhibit 256. Excuse me, not Exhibit 259, which is your report, your initial report. And first, let's look at page 44 of Exhibit 259, and I'd like to pull it up before it's published, pull it up on the monitors for counsel and the judge, please. All right, there's a chart there called Exhibit 4, Answers to Question 150. Dr. Jacoby?
Yes.
What's in that chart?
Well, that's the original question. Looking at the conditioners shown on this webpage and thinking back to the friend with naturally curly hair who recommended the conditioner you looked at before, which of the following describes what you think? And over there, they have a choice. One or more conditioners on the page comes from the same company that put out the conditioner your friend recommended, or none of the conditioners did so, or I don't know. And you can see you get 56.6%, more than half the people said one or more of the conditioners on the page come from the same company that put out the condition my friend recommended.
All right, and Your Honor, I'd like to move Exhibit 259, page 44, just the chart that is depicted now, into evidence, and we will make sure that just the chart goes in. Appreciate your response. This is the information that Dr. Jacoby relied on in his report, and I can certainly establish that, Your Honor, if you only need this.
Well, I think you have that and other responses, and it will be admitted. Again, I give my admonition that it's up to, and this is where it really gets important, it's up to counsel to assure that when there are partial admissions, only the part admitted are given to the jury.
Can you repeat the admission, the number?
Exhibit 259, page 44. All right, let's let's pull this up. Now, Dr. Jacoby, what does this chart depict?
What it does is tell you by the way, you see the 8 groups there, and I could describe them more if you like, but what it shows is that the people who were shown in test condition 1 up on the top, we have deep and leave-in. The people who saw the deep conditioner, 56.6% of them were confused by thinking one or more conditioners on the page comes from the same company. And with the leave-in conditioner, 55.9% were confused. These are people who saw the actual as-sold mixed silk products. So you're getting more than half the people who are confused. Now, at this point, we don't know if they're confused as to mixed silk or one of the 2 controls which were in the cell. That would be on the next question. That'll tell us which ones they're confused about.
Okay. So let's take a look at a second chart. And again, Mr. Vaughn is going to pull this up for the judge and the attorneys. Exhibit 259, page 47. And we'll just grab the chart there. Dr. Jacoby, what's depicted in the chart? It's called Q55 on Exhibit 259, page 47.
Okay, if you recall, we had about 56% of the people.
Yeah, and let's not talk about the contents of the chart yet. Just tell me generally what's depicted there.
Oh, this is the percent of actual confusion with respect to each of the products that the people were shown across all of the 8 different groups.
And is this also data that you relied on in forming your opinion?
Yes.
All right, Your Honor, I move Exhibit 259, page 47, the chart only with no other text into evidence.
Your Honor, I think you've ruled on this already. I just referenced the prior discussion to preserve my objection.
Objection preserved. It's admitted, partially as described.
Let's put that up, please, Chuck.
Me.
All right, let's talk about globally or at a high level, Dr. Jacoby, what's depicted here, please.
What's depicted is the percentage of confusion for each of the products that the people were shown in each of the groups. Now you have to understand that the people in the test group, test 1 with deep and leave-in, were shown the as-sold products. The people in test 2 and test 3 were shown products that were modified in different ways. In test 2, we had groups 3 and 4. This was looking at the trademark confusion alone. And over there, I'm sorry, if you go back to what you just had, I could explain that. I think, thank you. What we did is we changed mixed silk, where it says, say, mixed silk deep, we changed it to swirled girls deep. Now that was a pretty tough control. That is the name that, according to the depositions I read, Sally Beauty had considered using and recognized that it was very close and probably would be the subject of a suit had they used that, and so they didn't. And thinking of that as a very tough control is one that cuts against your side, I decided to use that. So what you have over here in the third line, you see the Swirl Girls Deep Conditioner as compared to the first line, Mixed Silk Deep Conditioner. And in the second line, you have the Mixed Silk Leave-In Conditioner as compared to the Swirl Girls Leave-In Conditioner. And remember what I said, you subtract. So in this case, let's take the Mixed Silk Deep. We found, when we showed them the as-sold product, 52.8% of the people were confused by thinking that the product also...
What was the percentage?
52.8% were confused into thinking that the mixed silk product was put out by the same company that put out Mixed Chicks. But when we changed the name, but left the container looking the same, 42%. If you can see that in the third column.
You can actually circle that with your finger.
Oh, I can? All right. Sorry.
Then you see there's a clear button down below? Hit the screen above the clear button. There you go. So
Thank you, Your Honor.
start over, and it is hard on fingers.
Okay. Here's the percent who were confused when they looked at mixed silk deep conditioner, as sold. But when we change the name from mixed silk to swirl girls, you have 42%. If you subtract 42 from 52.8, you get 10.8%. That's the amount that are confused due to name after you use an exceptionally high control, tough control.
What do you mean by exceptionally high?
Well, we had a name that even Sally Beauty recognized was going over the line. I wasn't sure it was, but I figured that's the toughest control. In fact, I can give you a comparison. If we go down to the bottom of this chart, you'll see the difference. If you go down, Mr. Vaughn, yeah, about where you are, you see where it says beautiful texture, rapid repair, and that's it, great. If you could just highlight that.
Let's clear the circle.
Sorry.
That lower right hand there.
Yes. Remember, they sold 3 products. Now, when they looked at the beautiful texture rapid repair, you only got 4.7%, or in this group, 5.4%. When they looked at the third product, the Dccd Naturals, you only got, again, 4.7, in this group, 7.1. Those would be normal controls. Those are other products in roughly the same shape container, but they look different and they had different names. And hardly anyone.
So why does that matter?
Because hardly anyone's confused with those. But about 5%, as opposed to 52% in this group who were confused when they saw the mixed silk. If you subtract the 5% from the 52%, you're left with 47% of the people are confused.
Okay, and let's talk about these numbers. What is, in your experience and in your expert opinion, the threshold or the lowest number at which which indicates a significant level of likelihood of confusion?
Courts have varied. Some courts have gone below 10%, but the threshold for most courts seems to be around 15%. Anything below, they generally don't take action. Anything, well, let's put it this way, anything above 20% is almost always considered to be confusing. And when I say 20%...
Let's separate this out, because let's talk about consumer behavior and confusion in the marketplace and not necessarily talk about what courts have held, although it may be relevant later. But, you're not a lawyer. I know that you have to pay attention to what courts say, but what's your opinion as a PhD psychologist and statistician as to what a significant level of confusion is? And a professor of marketing, I can tell you, if 20% of your prospective customers are confused, that's an amazing number. I mean, profit margins, say, in supermarkets are only 1.5% to 2% at the end of the year. If you're getting 20% of the people selecting the wrong product, that can mean the difference between life and death for a company. All right, now, let's talk about, did you do anything after this survey was done to, well, not after the survey was done, but did you do anything after achieving these results to ask people questions to make sure that you didn't have any outliers to otherwise validate this survey? Yeah, it's traditionally done in mall intercept, not in online surveys, but I use it as another quality control feature. What we do is called a post-survey validation effort. You go back and you try and call all the people that participated, and you ask them questions to make sure whether or not they participated. Interestingly, on occasion, some people say, no, we didn't. Or you ask them the same questions about their age and their gender, and all of a sudden you get different ages or different genders. And so usually that's sort of a small number, maybe around 3%. You get rid of them. You don't include them. So
We did a post-survey validation effort, and we got rid of those people, but I took the opportunity at that time to add 2 more questions to it.
What'd you add?
Well, I had, by that time, seen Mr. Johnson's survey, and I saw where he confined attention only to Sally Beauty customers. And I asked myself, what would happen if we only looked at Sally Beauty customers? And so we went back, we were able to get...
And I got to stop you there, because when you say only Sally Beauty customers, what do you mean?
Well, there's a little difference between my study and his study. In his study, he looked at past purchasers of Sally Beauty products. He didn't confirm that these past purchasers would also be future purchasers of Sally Beauty products. I mean, if you're a past purchaser and you've had a bad experience with the product, you may not choose to go back. And there are people who haven't been a first-time Sally Beauty customer at the time of the survey, but may in fact become one shortly thereafter. He didn't do anything to check on whether they would go to Sally Beauty in the future. I did.
Okay, so your survey universe was bigger.
Yes.
And so let's get to the validation. So when you say you went back and asked them if they were Sally Beauty customers, you asked them if they had ever shopped there. What'd you ask? Just tell me what you asked.
I'd have to get to the exact questions because I don't want to misrepresent.
Well, let's just talk about what the question was designed to elicit. What information was it designed to elicit?
To see whether or not these people, or which of the people, had actually been to a Sally Beauty and were likely to go to a Sally Beauty store or shop at Sally Beauty either online or at a store.
Okay, so, and that question, though, would exclude potential future first-time Sally Beauty shoppers, right?
If they, at the time we asked the question, weren't thinking about going to Sally Beauty.
Okay. So you did that study, and did that reveal any decreases in the percentage of confusion that you originally, in fact, just showed the court and the jury?
Just the opposite. When we went back and we looked only at the people who said that they were past and prospective Sally Beauty customers, I mentioned the single figure that's overall most important was 41% roughly. It went up to 47% if we looked only at Sally Beauty customers.
All right. And what was the other validation question that you asked?
There were 2 of those questions. One, if they'd gone in the past, and 2, if they were likely to do so in the future. And those were combined to get at the Sally Beauty customer base.
Did you ask any questions to make sure that the survey population hadn't been contaminated by contacts from anybody involved in this case?
Yeah, that was on the main questionnaire. I had understood that people in your firm would be, or somebody on behalf of your firm would be contacting a list of customers they had from Sally Beauty. And I asked a question at the end of the survey to see if they had been contacted by your firm. If they had been contacted by your firm, I excluded their data. So they weren't in what I was just discussing.
So why did you do that?
I have no idea what questions you guys were going to ask. I just didn't want them contaminated, very much the way I asked at the beginning of the questionnaire. If they participated in any survey on hair conditioners to begin with, they were out. The same thing here. If they participated in responding to your questions, they would be out.
All right. Let me ask you, we looked at the deep conditioner. You also surveyed, you said the leave-in conditioner?
Yes.
The 33, the big one or the 10 ounce? The one with the pump or with the 10 ounce?
No, at this point, I think the one with the pump.
And did you compare the sizes of the mixed chicks pump and the mixed silk pump, or how did you pick them on the internet survey that you did?
I looked at the photos, and that's what I did to select them.
So you looked at the photos on the internet and constructed the survey?
Yes.
All right, and you're aware, and in fact Mr. Stewart made you aware that one's a 33 ounce and one's a 17.5 ounce?
Correct.
And does that make a difference to the result?
Not really.
Why not?
Well, they have the same shape, the same colors, the same trade dress, they have the same name. you know, if you take a Colgate toothpaste in a 7-ounce size and you take it in a little travel 2-ounce size, it's still Colgate toothpaste and it looks the same. We're talking about the name and the appearance, the colors, the shape of the container, and that pretty much remains comparable.
All right. Now, we talked a little bit about Mr. Johnson's survey. Is there, and I don't want to get into the particulars of the legal cases, but you had a survey format that has a particular name associated with a particular case. What was your format called?
Mine is called a modified squirt. May I also interrupt? We've gone nearly 2 hours. I don't want to plead age, but I would like a bathroom break if I may have one.
What's that? What's your witness?
There's probably members of the jury who would also join you on that. All right, we will take our break now. And remember, don't discuss the case or research the case, and please keep an open mind. And let's come back at 10:15.
All right.
All right, 10:15. Just one moment, Doctor. 3 times in the first 30 minutes, you made audible responses to evidentiary issues. I would think a man of your experience would understand the importance of respecting the procedure here. If you do it again, I'll have further comment to the jury. Let's come back at 10:15.
And how can mark this first?
And you can step down. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, we're discussing testimony of Mills and London. I presented my tentative that we should allow that, that the jury should decide whether this applies. There's certainly an opportunity to cross-examine and to argue, but I think there was sufficient evidence there that could prove relevant in this trademark case. And so, if you wish to make any further record we had a brief discussion off the record on the break, and if you wish to make further record, I'm listening, and I might even change my mind. Go ahead.
Regarding the point I made, again, it's not just the testimony, it's how the testimony was characterized by counsel.
Wait, can you step into a mic?
Oh, I apologize. We'll go ahead. We'll make it easy. I apologize. Yes, Your Honor. It's not just the substance of the testimony itself. It's the character and the characterization by counsel. It will be characterized as confusion evidence, Your Honor. When we submit, it's not. And so when the jury, we believe these witnesses will really testify very, very briefly.
But isn't trademark largely, doesn't it largely concern snap decisions, grabbing stuff off a shelf, and the situation might have been that it could have gotten in her shopping cart and she could have bought it and taken it home on a snap decision and not realized the mistake till she got home, not realize the confusion till she got home. And I just think it's relevant that she looked at a shelf, grabbed something, and it turned out she was confused. So you can argue however you wish, but that'll be my ruling, and let's move forward, Ms. Brittle. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may, just one more housekeeping. It doesn't matter what the jury's done. I don't think we had total times from yesterday. Do you happen to have those?
I don't know from yesterday, but right now we're at 10:30 and 5:25.
Thank you.
I'll let you guess which was which. 10:32 and 5:26.
I think I'd have to be Rain Man to calculate my probabilities in my head about what 1032 means for the rest of the case.
Well, we have an incredibly accomplished statistician on the stand.
All right. You didn't come to order. This court is again in session.
All right, Mr. Parker, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Jacoby, what is a modified SQUIRT program, SQUIRT survey?
A SQUIRT survey involves you're showing both plaintiff and defendant's product. The original SQUIRT case involves showing them both simultaneously, side by side. Since then, most courts have held that side-by-side presentation is inappropriate. So a modified SQUIRT is where you show them sequentially. You show one party's product first, take it away, and then show the second party's product. In the better studies, there is some period of time or some task that intervenes between the showing of the first and the second so that it's not immediately consecutive.
All right, and is there another type of format as well, or that's commonly known in your line of work?
Yeah, it's called the Eveready format, and that's after a case involving the Eveready battery people.
And what kind of format is that?
That's where you show just a single product, and you ask questions about that product.
And would it typically be the accused product that one shows in an Eveready format?
Yes.
And accused meaning the product accused of being infringing?
Correct.
And why did you select the modified SQUIRT format over the Eveready format in this particular case?
The Eveready format, as described in the Trademark Reporter, an article by Jerry Swan, also as described by Professor McCarthy on Trademarks, is appropriate when you have a famous mark that's involved. So that, to give you an example of a recent case out here in California, where Apple was suing Samsung. If instead of Samsung, or even could be Samsung, you showed just the Samsung phone to people, and you asked if you know who puts this out, and people know Apple, know the iPhone, so many are likely to say, the iPhone, which would be an example of confusion in that matter. But the use of that format where the parties are not well known almost always yields close to zero confusion. It's a foregone conclusion.
Right, not well known in what sense and in what not well known in what sense?
Not well known in that particular marketplace. Not
well known in the trademark sense?
Yes, its name is not well known. Its trademark is not well known. It's not what's called top of mind. I mean, if we say Apple and iPhone, if we see a smartphone, we can think of Apple. We can see the iPhone in our minds frequently. For many customers in this particular product category, if you were to say mixed silk or mixed chicks, it wouldn't immediately come to mind to many people in the category. It is not, Clairol or something that's been around for years and is very familiar.
And when you talk about category, are you talking about a category? When you just described the Clairol example, you're talking about what category?
Hair care products, specifically conditioners.
Okay, and what does famous mean? Trademark sense. In
a trademark sense, that most people, regardless of whether they're purchasers or not of the product category, can recognize the name and the logo. And I'll give you an example. Most of us don't have a Rolls Royce. I suspect everyone in this room does not have a Rolls Royce. But if I say Rolls Royce, that's a famous mark. We know what a Rolls Royce stands for. We can envision the double R's. We can maybe envision the statuette on the front of the grill. We can envision the grill, so that if we see a car that's sort of a Rolls Royce knockoff, or in fact these be Volkswagens, which had a grill that looked like the Rolls Royce, and people say, oh, we think Rolls Royce must have permitted Volkswagen to use this on their grill.
And let's circle back and let's wrap up, because I got to tell you, it's been a long week, and I'm like the horse, and I smell the barn, and I'm sure that everybody in the courtroom feels the same way. Can you take a look at Exhibit 261 again?
Yes.
And earlier you were looking at the chart, and you were doing some comparisons, and you mentioned a confusion rate in the high 40s. Was that trademark, trade dress, or both?
Both combined.
Okay, and but what did those statistics reveal about trademark confusion only?
When you look at trademark confusion, depending upon which control you're looking at, it could be as low as 10.8% against that spoiled girl's very tough control, or as high as 45, 47% when you look at the others.
And which number is a better indicator of likelihood of confusion?
I think you can split the baby in half and say it's maybe in between, and if you take in between, it's still, well over 20, 25% when you subtract the control from the test.
Okay, and so actually probably 3 or 4 questions. You testified already about the 41.2% net overall confusion. Is that as to source, sponsorship, and affiliation?
It's just as to source.
What about?
Well, I'm sorry. In that case, it was with respect to source, and also whether or not the respondent, the consumer, thought there was confused as to what's called business connection, affiliation, or association. Whether they thought there was a business connection between the two.
All right. And now, in your opinion, does the confusion rate that you described also tend to indicate a likelihood of actual confusion?
Yes, it's supposed to be a predictor of if you extrapolate to the universe as a whole, what's likely to happen out in the actual marketplace.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Stewart, you smell the barn? I do. It smells pretty good.
All right.
Somebody cleaned it out. I think that may have been a hint as well.
Oh no, it wasn't at all. I'm not smelling the barn.
Good afternoon, or I guess we're still morning. I am smelling the barn. Good morning, Dr. Jacoby. I want to start by just making sure I understand the parameters of the survey that you did, and so I'd like to make sure that I understand what your survey covers, what it tests, and what it doesn't test. Now, you would agree with me, wouldn't you, that your survey does not test any level of confusion that a consumer might encounter when they see the mixed silk products on the store shelves in a Sally Beauty store?
No, I disagree. It didn't test the store, but the situation projects to the store. The products don't change. They have the same shape. They have the same name.
Sorry, let me interrupt you. My question was, your survey didn't test any level of confusion that might occur when consumers see the mixed silk product on a shelf at the Sally Beauty retail store. That's right, isn't it?
I didn't test the Sally Beauty context.
Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Okay.
You didn't test that context. And you're aware, aren't you, that 99% of Sally Beauty sales are through its retail stores?
That's irrelevant. I'm aware. Sorry. That's irrelevant, yes.
Thank you, Dr. Jacoby. Your survey also did not test the 10-ounce size of the Mixed Chicks leave-in conditioner, did it?
That's correct.
And so your survey provides no direct evidence regarding the likelihood of confusion regarding the trade dress of the Mixed Chicks 10-ounce product.
We did not test it, but we can make informed inferences.
Well, that's not what I'm asking you. Your survey does not provide any direct evidence as to that, does it?
That is correct.
And so because you didn't, sorry, let me ask you another question. Your survey also did not test the Mixed Chicks shampoo in either the 10-ounce or 33-ounce size, did it?
You're correct.
So you cannot conclude from your survey any specific numbers or confusion levels with regard to the trade dress of either the 10-ounce or 33-ounce mixed-drink shampoo products, can you?
If you're being a scientist, you can draw conclusions, but not about a specific number.
Okay. And that's my question. So no, you cannot, you have no specific numbers that you can provide to the jury based upon the survey that you did.
That is correct.
And everything else that you would do would be something of a hypothesis.
Not really.
Now, you would agree with me that a survey should attempt to replicate as much as possible the essentials of the marketplace?
Yes.
And you would agree, wouldn't you, that the closer the survey methods mirror the situation in which the ordinary person would encounter the trademark, the greater the evidentiary weight of the survey results?
Yes.
And it's also true, isn't it, that surveying the proper universe is critical for the results to be valid?
Yes.
And identifying the right universe means surveying those current and prospective purchasers of the products that are the subject of the survey?
Correct.
And an overbroad universe can cause the survey results to be unreliable, isn't that true?
Correct.
If a consumer has never seen a product before, they can't be confused, can they? They can't confuse that product with another product?
Until the point at which I don't understand your question, so I'm asking clarification. When they first come across that product, they can be confused.
Right. So we've got two products, product A and product B. Consumer sees product A, but they've never seen product B. They can't confuse product A with product B, can they?
At that point, you're correct.
Now, you asked respondents to your survey whether they had heard of or seen the mixed chicks products that were shown in the survey. Is that right?
Yes.
And your survey revealed that only 8.4% of the survey respondents responded that they had heard of or seen the mixed chicks products before?
I believe so.
And you concluded from that data that the mixed chicks products are not well known to people who buy products for curly or wavy hair. Is that right?
Correct.
And the market for the mixed silk products that are at issue in this case are people who buy products for curly or wavy hair. Is that right?
That's what they say, yes.
And more specifically, products specially formulated for consumers with curly or wavy hair who wish to wear their hair in its natural state.
Right. So then it would be consumers with naturally curly or wavy hair, correct?
Right. Who are buying product for use in their hair when they're wearing their hair natural, meaning not straightened in.
Correct.
And your survey tested Sally Beauty target customers, didn't it?
It tested, well, it had a bunch of Sally Beauty target customers, but it also tested beyond that.
Well, you were testing, weren't you, the target audience for the mixed soap products with your survey?
Testing that, but also generally people who had naturally curly, naturally wavy hair who bought these kinds of products.
I'm a little lost, so I'm not sure I understand how that differs from Sally Beauty's target customers for the mixed soap products. Can you explain that?
You know what? You're basically right. To get into the details between target and actual, forget it. You're right, basically.
Are you familiar with the term secondary meaning?
I am.
And you've done secondary meaning surveys before, haven't you?
I have.
And you've opined in those cases, haven't you, on what level of recognition is necessary for a brand to have achieved secondary meaning?
Based on prior court decisions, what generally seems to be the case, yes.
And as a survey and marketing expert, what level of recognition of a trademark or trade dress do you believe is necessary before a survey shows that a product, trade dress, or trademark has achieved secondary meaning?
See, it depends on the question. If you're using a standard test for secondary meaning, which I did not do.
I'm not asking about the survey. I'm just asking in general. So in general, if when you have done surveys on secondary meaning, and you've reached opinions, I assume, in those surveys as to whether your survey shows secondary meaning or not, right?
Right.
So you applied some standard to that. There's got to be some threshold, doesn't there?
Yes, there is.
And that's what I'm asking for.
I know what you're asking for, but it's based on different questions than I asked in this survey. But under those conditions, Usually what you look for is something above 30 and definitely above, above 40 and definitely above 30%.
In those conditions, you mean in general conditions?
No, I mean when you're using a standard format for testing secondary meaning, which I did not do, then when you use that standard format, what you're looking for are, the standard format is you ask people, when you look at the product.
Dr. Jacoby, that's not what I'm asking you, and you're assuming facts into the question that aren't in the question. I'm just simply asking you, when you have done secondary meaning surveys, put this case aside, when you have done secondary meaning surveys, what have you decided is the minimum level of recognition of a trademark or trade dress before you will opine that that survey shows secondary meaning?
Okay. Now, I'm bound by the ethics of my profession to which I've signed, not to mislead. And so, when I have used a secondary meaning paradigm with the actual secondary meaning questions that are normally used, which I did not use in this survey, then what you usually look for are rates above 30 or 40%. I didn't test that way here.
That's fine. I'm not, again, I know you're concerned about your survey in this case. I'm not asking.
No, I'm concerned about misleading the jury.
You know what? I could not agree with you more that you should not mislead, and if you did, that would be a real problem because you also took an oath. We are here just to get straight, honest answers, and that's what I expect that you will get. Now, you did survey in this case, didn't you, purchasers of Sally Beauty's mixed silk products? That was your target market? Purchasers of Sally Beauty products who buy hair conditioners, deep and leave-in conditioners. I didn't ask whether or not they bought mixed silk leave-in conditioner or deep conditioner. I just asked whether or not they had, they bought those conditioners, but not necessarily at Sally Beauty. And a separate question asked whether or not they bought at Sally Beauty. Yeah, fair enough. I can be a little clearer. You picked that target for your survey, didn't you? Because those are the target consumers for Sally Beauty's products, for Sally Beauty's mixed silk products.
I picked people who buy leave-in and deep hair conditioner for curly or wavy hair, and that is Sally Beauty's target, as well as mixed chick's target.
Okay, but it is Sally Beauty's target. That's all I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Because it was the target of both the companies.
And because you're trying to make sure you got the relevant universe, right?
Right. I didn't want to survey people with straight hair or, unfortunately, like myself, who have very little hair.
I don't have much need for a curly hair product. Now, you're aware, aren't you, though, that some consumers who have naturally or curly hair straighten their hair, right?
I am.
And you're aware, aren't you, that the products in this case, though, are specially formulated for people with curly or wavy hair who want to wear their hair in its naturally curly state, meaning not straightened.
Correct.
And you would agree with me, wouldn't you, that not all deep or leave-in conditioners are specially formulated for people with curly or wavy hair who want to wear their hair in its natural state?
I'm not an expert in hair conditioner, but I presume what you're saying is correct.
And your survey questionnaire does not specifically ask the survey respondents whether they have purchased or are likely to purchase products that are specially formulated for women with curly or wavy hair who want to wear their hair in its naturally curly or wavy state, does it?
It did not ask that.
All right. And you can't determine, can you, from looking at the data of your study, how many of the respondents in your survey have purchased or are likely to purchase the kind of specially formulated products that are at issue in this case?
That's correct.
And so in that regard, your survey can be overbroad?
In that respect.
All right. Now, your survey asked respondents whether they had ever gone online to buy grooming products. Is that right?
Hair grooming products.
I appreciate the clarification. And also asked consumers whether they ever go online to get information about hair grooming products. Is that right?
Yes.
But regardless of how somebody answered those questions, they could have answered no to both those questions. You still passed them on to the rest of the survey, didn't you?
I did.
And you included all of their answers in the responses in your survey, didn't you?
That's traditional in marketing research.
All right, just a yes or no on that is fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And these two questions, when you ask people about whether they go online to get information about hair grooming products, easy to do with everything you got up there. You did not ask them, did you, whether they are likely to go online in the future to shop for hair grooming products?
No, I didn't.
Thank you. And you also didn't ask them, did you, whether they are likely to go online in the future to get information about hair grooming products?
With increasing usage of the Internet, it is natural for people to go and if they...
I'm really sorry to cut you off. We are on a time trial, and this is a yes or no question, and I think you know a yes or no answer. That's all I'm looking to get to. If you've got more to say, I'm sure Mr. Parker will use his time to get that out, but since I'm on a clock and have limited time to get my evidence, and I unfortunately have to interrupt you and keep this moving along. And I know that seems rude, and I apologize for doing that, but I've got little choice. But let me go back to that question again then. Your survey did it ask whether consumers will go online in the future to look for information about hair grooming products? And I just need a yes or no to that.
Okay, I thought you were going to ask a question saying, is that correct? And the answer is yes.
Thank you. Now, you testified that your survey format is a modified sports survey format, is that right?
Yes.
And in that format, consumers are shown the products sequentially?
Yes.
Or in a regular sports survey format, it would just be directly side by side, is that right?
Correct.
The modified, you showed them one and then the other, but not at the same time?
Correct.
But still all within the context of the same survey.
Yes.
And you would agree with me, wouldn't you, that the modified sport format you use generally should not be used if the plaintiff's mark is well known?
Correct.
And as we've discussed, you've concluded, though, that the mixed chicks mark and trade dress are not well known to the target market as a whole. Is that right?
Correct. The data at 8.4% show that.
All right. Now, are you aware of the fact that Mixed Chicks has claimed that its mark and trade dress are well known?
I don't know among what segment. It may be well known. We found of those people who are mixed race, the figure was 30% who knew it, not 8.4%. So among its sub-segment of the market, it's better known than it is among the market as a whole.
You understand, don't you, that in the retail marketplace that the party's products never show up side by side in retail stores?
In brick-and-mortar retail stores, not the electronic marketplace.
Right, but I'm just talking about, so brick...
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you.
And you are aware that those brick-and-mortar retail store sales account for 99% of Sally Beauty sales of its mix-up products?
You've made that perfectly clear.
No, I'm just asking if that's your understanding.
Yes.
All right, so let's turn to your questionnaire itself, and I think you've still got Exhibit 257 in front of you. And while you're looking that up, let me ask you this. You refer to your survey as an online excursion, don't you?
No. I said there was an online excursion where we took people through what they would see if they went online, but this is not an online excursion. You want to characterize it as such, obviously I can't stop you, but it speaks for itself.
I'm not intending to mischaracterize anything, and I'm just simply asking you, you referred to taking people on an online excursion as a part of the survey process, didn't you?
Yeah, but it's not an online excursion survey.
Now, your survey is designed to measure confusion caused by word-of-mouth communication about the Mixed Chicks products you tested. Is that right?
Yes.
And your survey presents a scenario...
Excuse me, yes, with qualifications. I don't know if you want to go into that, but it's yes with qualifications.
I don't, thank you. And your survey presents a scenario where a friend shows the survey respondent either the Mixed Chick leave-in conditioner or the Mixed Chick deep conditioner, is that right?
Yes.
You don't have any data, do you, about how frequently someone pulls out a Mixed Chicks product and shows it to a friend and recommends it to them?
I don't on that, or how often one is at another one's home and asks the question. There are all these scenarios. No, I have no data, and I know of no data that exists on that.
Thank you, Dr. Jacoby. Now, in your survey, the friend pulls the product out of a bag and shows it to a friend, but she doesn't ever name the product, does she?
Correct.
And that's on purpose in your survey, isn't
Right.
it? You didn't want to use the name.
Correct.
But you have no data, do you, about how often a friend would pull a product out of a bag, show it to a friend, and recommend the product to them, but not actually use the name of the product, do you?
Here's what I use. Take a look. You know, as far as how often that happens, nobody has such data.
Right. And so, and in particular, you don't have any data on that.
I'm part of nobody.
Thank you. But you're not a nobody, and we heard that earlier, so that's good too. Now, you don't have any data or information about how frequently a person makes a word-of-mouth recommendation without naming the product, do you?
I've written on word of mouth. I'm familiar with the literature. I know of no study that has ever examined that issue.
Okay. And in fact, when you designed your survey, you weren't even aware of a single instance where the scenario that you use in your survey had ever actually occurred in real life. Sorry.
No, I do not follow women around and listen to their conversations.
So this is an assumption you made, but you couldn't even point to a single time where this scenario you created had ever actually happened in the real world.
I would bet my firstborn, secondborn, and thirdborn that it has happened in the real world. Can I point to an instance? No.
Okay. And you can't point to how often that's happened either.
That's true.
You don't believe, do you, that most consumers will be exposed to the Mixed Chicks product through the scenario that you set up in your survey, do you?
I believe many consumers will be exposed to Mixed Chicks products through such a scenario.
Let me ask my question.
There are two friends. Go ahead, sorry.
I apologize. Again, I'm short on time and I'm on a clock, and so what you're answering is not the question I asked. The question I asked is, you don't believe, do you, that most consumers will be exposed to the Mixed Chicks product for the first time through a friend pulling it out of a bag and showing it to them?
I have no idea.
Now, next in your survey, your survey presents a scenario where the consumer goes to the internet at some later time to look up information on hair conditioners. Is that right?
Yes.
And let's go in Exhibit 257 to page 32. Pull that up for me, Garrett. This is question 130 in your survey, is that right?
Yes.
And so, just to make sure I'm clear, in the scenario, you just presented a product to the survey respondent to consider, and you asked them to look at that as if they were interested in purchasing it. Is that right?
That's not quite the language, but it's close enough. The answer is yes, but that's not. Go ahead. You might or might not consider purchasing it. Go ahead.
I was just paraphrasing.
Yeah. Okay.
I do appreciate the clarification. But in this question, 130, you asked them to go to the internet to look up information on hair conditioners. Is that right?
Yes.
Didn't ask them to go to the internet as if they were looking to buy the product, did you?
That's correct.
So they weren't looking for information specifically on the product they'd just been shown. They were just going to the information generally to look for information on hair conditioners.
That's what the question says.
And you don't have any information or data, do you, about, let me change that. You don't have any data, do you, on how many times people are shown a product as if they might be interested or would be interested in buying the product and then go to the internet just to look for general information on hair conditioners, do you?
No, I don't have any exact information on that.
Okay. And so you don't have any information about how often this scenario that you set up in your survey actually happens in the real world?
I know it's a realistic scenario. I don't know how often it happens.
Okay. And you don't have any evidence of even a single consumer, do you, who has ever, or at the time you did your survey, you didn't have any evidence of any consumer who had actually gone through the scenario that you walked the survey respondents through in your survey up to this point?
As I said, I don't follow women around listening to their conversations. I presume this thing has happened many times under many guises. Do I have any evidence of a single instance? No, I was not there. And I don't know of anyone who does have any such evidence.
Okay, but so the answer to that is no then, correct?
I don't know of anyone, myself included, who has any such evidence.
Now, your survey next asked the survey respondents to assume that in looking for hair conditioners, they would type in the phrase beauty supply companies into the Google search engine. Is that right?
Yes.
And is that shown on page 33 of Exhibit 257?
Yes.
So they're looking for hair conditioners, but instead of typing in hair conditioners, you have them typing in beauty supply companies. Is that right?
Right.
And the reason you did that is because you wanted to come up with a search string that would cause the Sally Beauty website to come up first, wasn't it?
That would cause the Sally Beauty website to come up. I didn't know it would come up first, which in fact it did.
Okay. But you were, I appreciate that clarification as well. You were looking for a search string that would get the Sally Beauty website to come up in the search results.
That is correct.
All right. So beauty supply companies, and you believe that that it replicates the marketplace, that a consumer would type in beauty supply companies when they're looking for information on hair conditioners.
That's who sells them, beauty supply companies. And if I want to know about hair conditioners, that's one way to go.
All right. But you don't have any data, do you, on how often a consumer in the real world would type in beauty supply companies when they're actually looking for information on hair conditioners?
Nobody, to my extent, to my knowledge, nobody has such data.
Okay. Now, don't you think it would make more sense that a consumer looking for information on hair conditioners would just type in hair conditioners?
They might type in beauty supply companies, which is where frequently they purchase these things from.
And if a consumer was looking for information about mixed chicks on the internet, you would expect that they would type in mixed chicks in this search box on Google, wouldn't you?
If they remembered mixed chicks.
Okay. That's right, but your survey shows that most people are not likely to remember it. Is that right?
Well, it doesn't show anything of the sort.
Well, most people aren't aware of it.
That's what it showed. They had said they hadn't seen it.
Right. More than 91% of the consumers had not seen it.
Across the whole survey, correct, but not across the mixed race consumers. Over there, 30% who had seen it were well aware of it.
All right, so the next step in the survey that you designed then asked the respondents to suppose that they select the Sally Beauty website. Is that right?
Yes.
And so you asked them to click on the Sally Beauty link, which is the top link?
Yes.
All right, and that's shown on page 33 by the Sally Beauty link being highlighted in red. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, but in the real world, it's possible, isn't it, that a consumer could have just skipped over the top of that Sally Beauty link and gone and clicked on one of the other links, isn't it?
That's true.
You don't have any data or information about how many times a consumer running this search would click on the Sally Beauty supply link, do you?
Correct. But let's put it this way. It is up there as a non-sponsored link because it is the most clicked on. So relative to everything else, I mean, that's how it gets that position. That's not a paid version.
Yeah, but you're not an expert on search engine algorithms and how they bring back their natural search results.
No, but having worked...
You have not been offered as an expert on that in this case, and so I think that's outside the scope of the opinion testimony that you're allowed to testify to in this case. In Your Honor, I'd ask that the witness be instructed not to continue to answer the question, which he looks poised to do.
Next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, so you get the consumers to the Sally Beauty website, right? And that's page 34 of Exhibit 257?
Yes.
And then your survey asked respondents to suppose that they search for deep or leave-in conditioners by searching for conditioners under the hair category. Is that right?
Right.
And then selecting either leave-in or deep conditioners. Is that right?
Right.
And then let's go to page 39 of Exhibit 257. And this is the page then that you show the survey respondents that they get when they type in or when they click on the deep conditioner link. Is that right?
Right. It's the page that comes up naturally. I didn't devise anything. This is a photocopy of what actually comes up.
Right, but you did devise that they would click on deep conditioner on the prior screen, right?
Right. That's exactly right.
But and you said earlier there were 26 conditioners that were shown by this search. Is that right?
Well, it says the first page shows 12 out of 26. You can go on and take a look at other pages.
Right, and so there are, in fact, 3 more pages that a survey respondent, if they were running this search on their own, could have gone to look at products. Right?
That is true.
And your survey did not allow them to do that, did it?
That's correct.
You restricted what the survey respondents viewed to just the first page, didn't you?
Yes.
And just the products that are shown on this page.
The 12 products on this page.
But a survey respondent in the real world may very well have gone to all of these pages. Might not they have?
Very possible.
Okay. Now, your survey then picks 3 deep conditioners to show the survey respondents, right?
Correct.
And those 3 deep conditioners, those come from among the different pages of the Sally Beauty website?
Yes.
So although you didn't show those pages, you picked products from those other pages.
That's correct.
Right? And you picked those products, I believe you said, because you wanted to pick products that would look as close as possible to the mixed silk products so that they wouldn't stand out. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't want the mixed silk product to be like a sore thumb, sort of waving a flag saying, oh, pick me, pick me. I wanted them to kind of have a similar look across the 3 products that they were showing.
And you think that these 3 products look close to one another that you picked for the deep conditioner? And let's, instead of referring to it in the abstract, let's go to page 81 of Exhibit 257. I tell you what, I'm going to go to a different page. Let's go to page 79 first, and then if you would highlight that here, the top portion here. And actually, let's focus in just on the 3 products at the top, if you will. All right. So it's your opinion that these 3 products look close to one another?
They look closer to one another than any of the other products on those 3 pages.
But you would agree with me, wouldn't you, that they don't look close to one another?
They're not identical, but they're the same shape, the same round containers. They're not long spray cans. They're not long pumps. They don't have the shapes of many of the other products on the page, which had I used, say, 2 products from the first page, as you're implying, suggesting, they could have been 2 totally different products and left the silk elements alone as being the one, with a flag on it saying, pick me, pick me.
Not implying or suggesting anything, I'm just asking you questions. And on this one, my question is, let's focus on the first 2 products, the mixed silk product and the beautiful textures product. As I heard your testimony, you said these 2 products look close to one another. Is that right?
I said they look closer than others on the page. Why don't you go back to the page you had me look at before? Go back to page 45. I think that was it.
I'm not interested in go back again.
Oh, okay.
I move this forward because of my time constraints. So is it your opinion that the first 2 products on page 79 of Exhibit 257 look close to one another?
I think they look closer than other products on that page. That's what I said, and that's my opinion.
Dr. Jacoby, you're not listening to my question.
You're not listening to my answer, which I think is responsive.
I don't, and my question is this. Is it your opinion that the first 2 products on page 79 of Exhibit 257 look like one another?
No, No, they look closer to each other than other products on the page, which is why they were selected, which is my testimony. I'm not going to testify to something that's not true.
Dr. Jacoby, I think my question is a simple one, and you got a lot of experience as a professional. I think you deal with questions every day in your profession, don't you?
Right. And
it's important for you to ask precise questions to people who are responding to your survey, isn't it?
It certainly is.
And so you understand a question and what a proper response is, don't you?
Well, I understand a proper question when it's not misleading.
So, I don't think it's leading to ask a simple question, do you believe these are close? Didn't you ask in your survey whether people think these are made by the same company?
I did.
And so my question is, I don't think that far afield from that, and it just simply is, and I want to make sure I've got a clean answer to this. Is it your opinion that the first two products on page 79 of Exhibit 257 look like one another?
In your question to me just now, you said you asked, do they look alike? I didn't ask, do they look alike? If you go back to the question, you'll see that.
I don't understand why we're having a communication difficulty. My question is really very simple. I'm not asking you to go to any other page. I'm not asking you about anything else in your survey. And I'm close to moving on because I don't think we're going to connect on this. I need you to drop everything else. I am not implying anything. My question is this, and I think it's a fairly simple one. Is it your opinion that the first two products on page 79 of Exhibit 257 look like one another?
I answered that question. They look closer to them than any of the other ones. Do they look like each other? No. One is, sort of yellow, one is red, one is white. I mean, they don't look like each other, but they look closer to each other than any of the other products on the page where people would have landed. Okay. That's my testimony.
And the first product and the third product on page 79, I would assume from that testimony you just gave that you would agree with me that those two products do not look alike.
Well, on my page, they look more alike than any of the others. Look, your questions are not simple. Your questions are leading. And I'm not going to answer a leading question and give the jury or the court response which would mislead. I told you they are closer than others on the page. You can go look at it, verify it. The jury can. But you're not going to get me to say they are close to each other, they look like each other, because they clearly don't. They look closer to each other than any of the others on the page. Mine is a simple answer. I don't know why I'm having difficulty communicating that to you.
One of the rules for cross-examination is that I get to ask leading questions. You've been cross-examined many times, haven't you?
Many.
All right, I believe I have my answer, and that is that you agree with me, don't you, that the first product and the third product on page 79 of Exhibit 257 do not look alike?
That's true.
Yes or no?
That is true.
Okay. Now, you're assuming in your survey, aren't you, that a person who in the real world was going through the online excursion that you're taking them through would actually have seen all three of these products, aren't you?
Not necessarily.
Right, so they may not have seen all of these three of these products, but you're pulling these products out to show them.
Right, deliberately so as not to plant the flag on the Silk Elements package.
And you lined up these three products right next to each other in your survey for survey respondents to take a look at, didn't you?
That's typical practice, standard practice.
And did that lineup look like the lineup we see in Exhibit 258?
Yep. Well, there were three versions of it.
Right. And so the three columns, the three columns to the right just show the rotational order that sometimes you change the order. But you pulled out three products and showed them to consumer respondents. But on the Sally Beauty website, there was no ability, was there, of a consumer to actually line these three products up side by side?
That's correct.
On the Sally Beauty website, you couldn't have done that. You couldn't have done this side-by-side comparison.
Well, if you really wanted to, you could have copied and pasted and done that, but it's not on the Sally Beauty website.
Right,
that's unlikely to happen.
Now, for the leave-in conditioner, and this is page 41 of Exhibit 257,
I'm sorry, what was that page?
Page 41. Are you there?
I am.
Okay. And there were 4 pages of leave-in conditioners under this category, leave-in conditioners on the Sally Beauty website. Is that right?
That's true.
And again, you just showed the survey respondents the products on the first page. Is that right?
Correct.
Didn't allow them to browse through the other products.
Correct.
And then you selected from among these 4 pages of leave-in conditioners 3 products to show the survey respondents. Is that right?
Yes.
And we go back to Exhibit 258. Like I tell you what, I'm going to go, sorry, Mr. Malter, I'm going to go to a different page. Let's go to page 84 of Exhibit 257. Uh, 257. And then if we can highlight just the products at the top. All right, these are the 3 products that you pulled out to show consumers who were in a cell that tested the mixed soap leave-in conditioner. Is that right?
Yes.
And is it your opinion that all 3 of these products are similar in appearance?
Well, they're all cylindrical with rounded shoulders, cap, screw cap on top. So, yeah, in that extent, to that extent, they have similarities, more so than other products on the page.
But you don't believe, let's take the first 2 products, that those 2 products look alike, do you?
Of course not.
And you don't believe the first product and the third product look alike, do you?
Of course not.
And the container shapes are not identical, are they?
No, they are not.
And 2 have flip caps and 1 has a pump?
That's true.
And the mixed Chicks product that you showed consumers that was pulled out of a bag had a pump on it, didn't it?
Yes,
You didn't show them the 10 ounce with the flip cap, did you?
I did not.
Okay, so you picked 3 bottles, 1 that had a pump, 2 did not. Is that right?
Correct.
Now, your survey didn't mention the prices of any of these products either, did it?
Correct.
And your survey didn't mention when the consumer who started the survey pulled out the product out of the bag. She didn't tell her friend, did she, that the manufacturer suggested retail price for that product is $50?
No.
And your survey doesn't show, the survey respondents does it, that the mixed soap product that you're showing them has a manufacturer suggested retail price of $7.99?
Correct.
Did you? So you did not show prices for any of the products anywhere in your survey, did you?
Never done in these surveys.
You didn't do it in this survey, and I'm just interested in this survey.
Correct.
And so your survey did not account in any way for any influence that the price of the products might have had on the level of consumer confusion.
Correct.
Now, your survey just showed photographs of the mixed Chicks product to the survey respondents, didn't it?
Well, yes, on the screen, photographic images.
Right, but in the real world, in the scenario that you're playing for consumers, if the survey respondent was really there, they would have been shown a real product, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And they would have had the opportunity to handle the product,
Yes.
to pump some of it out,
Yes.
to smell the product,
Yes.
to take a look at if there's a price tag on it and see what the price is.
Yes.
So in general, they would have been able to study that product much more closely than you allowed survey respondents to do in your survey. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Now, in evaluating a product in a survey, the general rule is that it is better for a consumer to see and handle the product versus only seeing a picture of the product. Isn't that true?
I don't know as a general rule. Things have changed these days based upon the research procedures that we use. That was more so correct years ago. It's less so correct these days.
You'd measure confusion better, wouldn't you, if you actually could show a consumer a product, a real product, wouldn't you?
You might.
All right. Now, Mr. Parker asked you about this already, but in your survey, when consumers were shown the mixed chicks products, it appeared the same size as the mixed silk product. Is that right?
Those two, yes.
And I, as Mr. Parker said, showed you the products during your deposition. Is that right?
Yes.
And I think you had not actually seen the product, the physical products before then, had you?
Correct.
And when you saw them, did you conclude that the two sizes of those products are different?
Yes,
And that the mixed chicks product is much bigger than the mixed silk product?
it was bigger.
Right. But you did not factor in that size differential in your survey, did you?
No, it is factored in actually when you see it in the context of the other products, so you have an idea of the size. But specifically, the answer is no.
Right. Now, in Exhibit 258, I'll give you a second to get back there. Yeah, you have it. Oh, I'm sorry. Here, if you could highlight row 5. And can we make just the products, the two products on the leftmost side, if we can blow those up? Yeah. All right, so it gets a bit fuzzy, but I do think this is a helpful document that you put together to understand your survey and its test cells. Now, in this test cell, so you're testing mixed chicks against the mixed silk mark on a different looking container, is that right?
Yes.
And so this test cell would be a test of trademark infringement, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Now, I want to go back, sorry for flipping between all the exhibits, but the good news is I'm nearing the end. So in Exhibit 257, page 125. This talks about a letter being sent out by a law firm to contact Kimberly Chase regarding products bought at Sally Beauty Supply. Is that right?
Yes.
Do you know what that letter said?
Yeah, it was a small letter. I don't know verbatim what it said, but it basically said in 2 or 3 paragraphs, you had purchased stuff online from Sally Beauty over the past whatever period of time it was. Please call Ms. Kimberly Chase. I don't know exactly what else it said, but that was basically the gist of the letter.
And then you also drafted a telephone survey, didn't you, for Ms. Chase to use when she called these people?
I looked at a telephone survey, as I recall, and I made sure that the questions weren't leading and were unbiased, yes.
And what were just in general, what was that survey about?
What product?
In ways.
Just a moment. I must say I'm not understanding for a testifying expert, so that makes me worried I'm not understanding. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, overruled.
So this survey, I'm not looking for you to go through it question by question, but just in general, could you tell the jury what that survey was about?
I don't even remember what it was about. All I remember is assisting an attorney at Hain in making sure that the questions he was intending to have asked of the people were not leading, were not biased, were not ambiguous.
And was that survey designed to see if people who had typed in mixed chicks on the Sally Beauty website during a certain time period were confused or misled by that?
I don't even recall that.
You don't remember anything at all about it?
No, I don't.
Okay. And do you know if that was sent to consumers of the mixed silk products who bought products online during a particular time period?
I believe it was. I believe that was its purpose.
And was that from approximately January to the end of March 2011?
I don't recall.
Okay. You do recall, though, that it was a limited time period, is that correct?
I do.
Right. You don't know who other than that, do you have any information about who the target customers of that survey were?
I think there's a list provided, I don't even know that. There was a list of people who had shopped on the Sally Beauty website.
Now, you included among your survey responses, I'm going to try to cut some time by not going into this exhibit, but we saw the list of verbatim responses, right?
Yes.
And some of those people just said they saw the word mixed, right?
They said all kinds of things.
Right. Do you remember any where they just said mixed? I saw mixed.
There were some that said, yeah, I saw that.
Right. And you included those people in your group of people who you said were confused, correct?
Yeah, when we asked them why they picked mixed silk, and they said, I saw the word mixed. There were many, as we went through the verbatims, we saw many people give different answers with different words. But if they referred to mixed, that was one of the codes.
Right, and you're aware, aren't you, though, that the plaintiff's trademark in this case is mixed chips?
Yes.
And you're aware, aren't you, also that they have no trademark rights and don't claim to own any trademark rights in the term mixed?
I presume that's correct.
Okay, thank you. No further questions?
All right, thank you. Redirect.
All right, Dr. Jacoby, Mr. Stewart asked you a few questions about whether you tested retail and whether you tested, we're not going to put anything up, Mr. Vaughn. Well, let's talk about whether you tested retail. And you said you did not test a brick and mortar scenario. Are your results indicative of confusion that is likely to happen at retail?
We certainly are. In fact, this is the typical procedure that's used these days for people who shop at brick and mortar to do online research with them. This is used across the entire industry, as I said.
How much money would it cost to test every conceivable buying scenario in a situation like this?
Definitely well over $1 million. And no, that would be an underestimate.
And so isn't what people like you do, and in fact what Mr. Johnson did as well, is try to test one of a selection of possible scenarios and likely scenarios?
Yes.
All right, and you've looked at Mr. Johnson's survey and report. Is it possible to construct a scenario that is entirely realistic?
No, and it isn't, because even if it were realistic, the consumer knows they're being tested, so they have a different mindset. If anything, they pay more attention to the material than they would under normal circumstances, so you're likely to get an underestimate of confusion.
Mr. Stewart asked you if a consumer has never seen the mark and they have any confusion. I have a separate question. If they have heard the mark but not seen it, could there be confusion?
It could be.
And Mr. Stewart asked you earlier about word of mouth, and you said yes with qualification. Do you recall what your qualification was?
I don't recall the question.
That's you. I don't have it either. Mr. Stewart asked you if you tested price. First of all, do these surveys include price typically?
Typically, no. The vast majority do not.
And if you're testing in part to determine confusion as to affiliation, are there reasons to exclude price?
I can't answer your question. I'd have to think about that.
All right, and what's the reason that you excluded from your survey anybody that has had any contact with any of the lawyers in this case?
Well, I had no idea what the questions were, what would have been asked, how their minds might have been contaminated by being asked questions. And so to make sure that I wasn't using anyone who might have been contaminated one way or another, if they said yes, then their data would totally be put aside and they weren't analyzed.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Fine, it's getting closer. Just a couple of questions. Actually, very few. You I think, just said that an online survey like you did is indicative of confusion at the retail level. Is that right?
Yes, it can be indicative, and it generally is. That's what we do.
But you cannot translate your survey, can you, into any numbers of confusion, any specific levels of confusion at the retail level, can you?
I can, within a range. That's what we do.
But you haven't done that here, have you?
Well, no, all you have
You've not
to,
offered any opinion in this case on that, have you?
all you have to do is look at the numbers.
No, that's not my question. And in fact, I'm going to ask that you not go into that because you have not offered an opinion on that in this case. But you have not offered an opinion on a way to translate somehow these numbers to the retail environment, have you?
I've said approximately the same.
But you agree with me, don't you, that, and I think we covered this already, that in the real world, the consumer actually gets to pick the product up and take a look at it. And once they actually take a look at it, that may impact their belief as to whether they're confused or not. Isn't that true?
It may not.
Okay. But it may.
It may.
Right. Thank you. No further questions.
Anything further?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I was distracted. No, nothing further, and apparently our next witness went down to the lunchroom, but is she here? Oh, perfect.
Oh,
I was smiling.
Who are you calling?
What? Oh, okay.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
This time the plaintiff would like to call Wakia London to the witness stand.
You'll please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Should be seated, please.
Good morning, Ms. London.
And if you'll state and spell your first and last name, please.
First name Wakia, W-A-K-I-A. Last name London, L-O-N-D-O-N.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. London.
Morning.
Do you have an understanding of why you've been asked to come testify today?
Yes.
What is that understanding?
Some sort of product confusion. I thought I saw a mixed chick product in Sally's Beauty Salon, and I come to find out I didn't.
And when did this take place?
It had to be like back in between November and December of 2011.
Okay. And Ms. London, what city do you live in?
Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And what do you currently do for employment?
I own a boutique, too.
And what's the name of that boutique?
Flavor Fashion Cafe and Rhythm Boutique.
And what kinds of things do you sell at your boutique?
Clothing, shoes, jewelry, accessories for women.
Any hair care products?
No, sir.
And how long have you owned and operated that business?
Since 2003.
Did you have any other businesses?
No.
And what did you do before you opened those boutiques?
I was a full-time student and a part-time manicurist.
So prior to the incident that you talked about before in about November of 2011, had you ever heard of Mixed Chicks?
Yes.
And where did you first learn about Mixed Chicks or its products?
At the Bronner Brothers International Beauty Show
And is that in Atlanta?
in Atlanta, Georgia.
And what year was that?
I've been doing Bronner Brothers for over 7 years now.
And which year did you first learn about Mixed Chicks and its products?
I can't pinpoint exactly what year. I guess it's been about 4 or 5 years now.
And have you ever used the Mixed Chicks products?
No.
And do you know of anyone, personally of anyone who has used them?
Yes, my little nephew. My mom, who's a hairstylist in West Palm Beach, Florida, she purchased it for my nephew, the kids' line.
Okay, and prior to the November 2011 confusion incident, had you actually seen any of the Mixed Chicks products?
Yes,
Where had you seen them?
at their booth at the Bronner Brothers International Hair Show.
Okay, and have you ever actually purchased any Mixed Chicks products?
I have once before for a neighbor of mine who owns a beauty salon right next door to my boutique. I just purchased like shampoo and conditioner.
Do you remember which sizes of the Mixed Chicks products you purchased?
Well, it's the professional size. It was over like 33 ounces, like a large size, almost a gallon maybe.
Do you remember what the tops looked like on those products?
I believe maybe like red or yellow. I'm not sure.
Were they flip caps or pump tops?
I believe one of them might have been a flip and one may have been a pump, like a squeeze bottle.
Okay. And have you actually seen the product sold anywhere?
No.
And have you seen the deep conditioner that's in the white jar?
Yes.
Where have you seen that?
Just at the hair show.
So prior to the incident where you were confused, you've become familiar with what the Mixed Chicks product looked like. Is that fair?
Yes.
And Ms. Dawn, did you have curly hair?
Do I have curly hair?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
That's kind of a silly question. Would you say it's naturally curly?
Yes.
And do you use shampoo for your hair?
Yes.
Do you shop at Sally Beauty, Ms. Dawn?
Yes, I do.
And how long have you been shopping there?
For years. When I was a licensed manicurist, I think I got my license back in 1993, so I've been a customer for Sally since around 93.
You shop at Sally Beauty Supply regularly?
Yes.
How often would you say you're in a Sally Beauty Supply store?
Maybe once a month.
And which Sally Beauty store do you typically shop at?
The one right around the corner from my boutique. It's on Government Street in Baton Rouge.
What types of products do you typically purchase at Sally Beauty?
Only hair color and moisturizer by Carefree Curl.
Is there a possibility that you could purchase other products in the near future at Sally Beauty?
It's a possibility. I purchased nail polish, different things like that.
Is there a possibility you would purchase a shampoo or a conditioner at Sally Beauty in the next 6 months?
Yes.
And do you get mailings from Sally Beauty?
Yes, I get the mailing brochures, the coupons, the advertisements.
Okay, how often do you get those?
I think they come out maybe once a month.
Do you read them when you get them?
Not really.
You don't look at them at all?
Not really, because it's not, what I purchase is never on sale.
So you mentioned earlier that you'd been to a Sally Beauty store and thought you saw some Mixed Chicks products, is that right?
Yes.
And what store was that?
The store on Government Street in Baton Rouge.
Okay, and do you remember why you were at Sally Beauty on that particular occasion?
First is my hair color.
Can you please describe for the jury the circumstances under which you thought you saw Mixed Chicks products being sold at Sally Beauty Supply?
Well, I was kind of in a rush, which I'm always in a rush when I'm going to Sally's. It's like an in and out thing because I basically know what I'm going there for. It's only two things I purchase there on a regular basis. That's my hair color and my moisturizer. And when I walked in the door of Sally's, I remember seeing a display, like on the right-hand side when you walk in. And because I have to go to the far right aisle to purchase my stuff, so I just looked at the wording and I just assumed that it was a Mixed Chicks display.
And so where were you standing when you saw that display?
When I really kind of looked at it, really paid close attention to it, was when I was at the register waiting in line.
Okay, so do you remember, first of all, how far away were you from the display when you were standing at the register?
Approximately 10 to 15 feet.
Okay, and can you estimate about how long you looked at the display while you were waiting in line there at the register?
Glanced at it, maybe 2-3 minutes, not long.
Okay. And earlier you said you were in kind of a rush that day. Do you remember how many minutes you were in the Sally Beauty Supply store total?
No longer than 15 minutes.
And what specifically, first of all, do you remember seeing different product groupings? So the products that you saw on the display, were there more than one type? Jars, bottles?
Yes, they had jars and bottles.
Do you remember how many different groupings you saw?
No, I really don't.
And do you remember specifically what products you saw?
No, I just remember the wording on the products. I don't know if it was conditioner, shampoo. I really didn't go into detail with it. I was just looking at basically the branding, the labeling on the product.
Do you remember if you saw a bottle with a pump top?
Yes.
And do you remember seeing a white jar?
Yes.
And so what specifically made you think that the products you saw were Mixed Chicks products? What about the products?
Well, the first word said mixed. The wording looked the same. The script looked similar. And I just assumed it was a Mixed Chicks product.
And did the tops of the products make you think they were Mixed Chicks products?
Yeah, the wording, the packaging, the total packaging.
Okay. And was the color a factor in that or not?
Not really, just the wording and the script.
And did you tell anyone else about this experience after the fact?
Well, I may have mentioned it to my sister that works with me, but I can't recall.
Do you recall being at a trade show and seeing Miss Etheridge?
Yes.
And did you tell Miss Etheridge about your experience at Sally Beauty?
Well, I walked up to Miss Etheridge to congratulate her for her product making it into Sally's, into a global market like that. And when I approached her to congratulate her, that's when she informed me that it wasn't her product.
Sorry to interrupt. Hearsay. It's okay to interrupt.
That's fine.
Response to the hearsay objection?
Well, it's really just a present sense impression. So she's
a statement by who?
It's a statement by the declarant.
Statement by a party?
Excuse me.
Is it a statement by a party?
For Ms. Etheridge's statement, yes, Your Honor.
Objections overruled.
Now, Ms. London, had you met Ms. Etheridge before that?
Yes.
How did you know her?
And by the way, Mr. Lee appropriately interrupted because the thing that was said was coming in the middle of the question, and we interrupted the answer. If you'd like to develop it further, or let her finish the answer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. London, if we could go back. So, when you talked to Ms. Etheridge and said congratulations on your product being at Sally Beauty, what did she say?
She said, "That's not my product, and can you repeat that in the court of law?"
And did you say anything back to her?
I was just stunned. I was shocked. And I said, "Sure."
And sorry, so going back to how you knew Ms. Etheridge, had you ever met her before?
Yes. She frequents my booth when the Bronner Brothers show happens every February and every August. And she may come and purchase earrings, shoes, whatever, or if not, just to look and speak.
Well, were you and Ms. Etheridge friends at that time?
No.
And in fact, is it true that you couldn't tell the difference between Ms. Etheridge and Ms.
Yeah.
Levy until you saw documents at the deposition?
Yes.
In this case? And did you know Ms. Etheridge and Ms. Levy's last names prior to the deposition in this case?
No, I didn't.
Thank you, Ms. London. No further questions.
Good morning, Ms. London. Good to see you again.
Good morning.
A couple of quick questions.
I believe you testified that Ms. Etheridge has bought clothing, shoes, and things from your boutique.
Not my boutique, from, my booth at the Bronner Brothers Hair Show.
Ms. Levy has as well?
I'm not sure. I don't recall.
And I believe also, doesn't Ms. Chicks do business with a friend of yours for their T-shirt business?
Yes.
Now, going to the incident in the store, you mentioned, not the words in your mouth, but you were in a hurry. I believe you rushed in, rushed out. Would that be proper characterization?
Well, I didn't rush out because I had to wait in line about 10 minutes, but it's about a 15-minute test.
But you were in a hurry going through the store?
Yes.
Now, you did not pick up this product or these products that you saw?
No, I did not pick them up.
You didn't visually pick them up, hold them?
No.
You, of course, didn't purchase them, did you?
No.
And I believe you said that you were not a customer for these products, are you?
No, I'm not.
All I have. Thank you, Ms. London.
Ms. London, when you said you weren't a customer for these products, which products were you referring to?
Excuse me?
When counsel asked you that you're not a customer of these products, which products were you referring to?
The Mixed Chicks product.
Okay. But you may be a customer of Sally Beauty's products, correct?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. No further questions.
Done. Thank you.
Thank you. You missed us down.
Thank you.
Your Honor, at this time, we'd like to call Amina Mills to the stand.
Okay. What do you anticipate after Ms. Mills?
Mr. Shorthand, Your Honor.
Just stand. If you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you may give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. Should be seated, please. And if you would state and spell your first and last name.
Amina Mills, A-M-I-N-A-H, Mills, M-I-L-L-S.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Mills.
Morning.
Ms. Mills, do you have an understanding of why you've been asked to come down and testify today?
Yes.
What is that understanding?
To talk about misunderstanding a particular mixed chicks product or product in Sally's.
Okay, and when did that incident occur, if you remember?
I believe in December.
December of last year?
Yeah, December of last year.
And Ms. Mills, where are you currently employed?
Los Angeles Sparks.
And that's a WNBA team for the uninitiated?
WNBA.
And what's your current position with the Sparks?
Account executive.
What are your current job responsibilities?
A lot. Ticket sales, basically. Revenue, bringing in revenue, ticket sales, sponsorship.
You're also involved in sponsorships and
Yes.
promotions for the Sparks?
Yes, that's the most.
Has Mixed Chicks ever been a sponsor for the LA Sparks?
Yes.
When did Mixed Chicks first reach a sponsorship deal with the LA Sparks?
May of 2012.
How long did that deal last?
Till mid-June.
And did Mixed Chicks re-up?
No.
So they no longer have any business connection, the Sparks and Mixed Chicks?
No.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And did the LA Sparks have any prior dealings with Mixed Chicks before May of 2012?
No.
How did you first come into contact with anyone at Mixed Chicks?
At a hair show.
Do you remember which hair show that was?
It was near LAX. I can't remember when. It was a while. It was, I don't know, prior to December, but I'm not sure around what time, but it was at a hair show near the airport in a hotel.
And then how did you end up touching base with Ms. Etheridge at that?
It was through an introduction of somebody. It was a third party, and it was an introduction of that third party.
And then when was the next time after that that you had communications with anyone from Mixed Chicks?
Not much until we got close to that. It was just missed phone calls, not getting in touch, like an email here, but no contact, a phone call there, but no, it was really no contact until around close to the time we had the sponsorship deal.
Okay, so at some point you did get back in touch with Mixed Chicks to arrange for a sponsorship deal with the LA Sparks?
No, not necessarily, just conversation to see more about, the company.
And who's been your primary contact point at Mixed Chicks?
Kim?
Kim Etheridge?
Yes.
And prior to December 2011, the confusion incident that you mentioned earlier, when was the first time you'd heard of Mixed Chicks?
I've heard of it before, just through other girlfriends who use the product.
Okay, did you have an ex-girlfriend who used the product?
Yes.
Okay. Did she use it at her house?
Yes.
Okay. So would you see the product at her house?
Yes.
Okay. So is it fair to say prior to December 2011, had you seen the Mixed Chicks product?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember which specific products you had seen?
That's like a hair in the jar. I don't know what, I just knew it was like a cream type of product that put in the hair, make it curly. It made her hair curly. It made it look good, and she loved it. So.
Remember how many different products she used?
really know. I know there was the jar and the shampoo, I guess.
Do you remember if the shampoo had a pump top or a flip top?
No.
And do you remember how long ago this was that you first started seeing the Mixed Chicks products at your ex-girlfriend's house?
Maybe a year privy. A year maybe or so.
A year before now?
Yeah. Maybe a year and a half. About a year and a half, 2 years. I don't know, somewhere around then. When I moved to California, around that time.
Okay. And how long ago did you move to California? Can you remember?
Almost 4 years ago, 3.5.
And this may seem like a silly question, although your hair is back, so it's a little hard to tell. But do you have curly hair?
No, I don't know. Yeah, no.
How would you describe your hair?
I have locks, so they're locked, knotted into a, so they don't. So I can't comb it. I can't comb it through and try to get, beautiful curls or what have you. So.
When it's in its natural state, how would you describe your hair?
Nappy, I guess. Not as curly, but kind of soft from the root, and gets a little coarse towards the edges.
Would you describe it at all as naturally curly or wavy or frizzy?
Naturally curly and frizzy.
And do you use shampoo on your hair, I assume?
Yes.
And do you ever shop at Sally Beauty Supply?
When I moved here, yes.
And how long have you been shopping there? So about since you moved to California?
Yes.
Okay. That's about 3.5, 4 years, is that right?
Yeah.
And how often have you been in an actual Sally Beauty Supply store during that time?
Not often. Infrequently.
And
Can't say how much. Maybe less than 10. Definitely less than 10.
would your ex-girlfriend ever visit a Sally Beauty Supply store?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Would you go with her?
No, I didn't want to go.
Have you ever personally bought products from Sally Beauty before?
Yes, I have.
What products?
Pin combs so I could part my hair, oils for my hair, just different, mostly combs and brushes, and pins to keep my hair locked as I do it.
Have you ever bought any products at Sally Beauty Supply for anyone in your household, or friends, or family, anything like that?
For mixtures?
No, from Sally Beauty. Any products from Sally Beauty?
Yes.
Okay. And let's talk about the incident you said earlier happened in December of 2011. What store did that take place in?
The Sally's, I believe, in Culver City.
Okay. And why were you at Sally Beauty on that occasion? Do you remember?
I was getting something because I was going to do my hair, so I went to go get another pin-tail comb because the one I had broke, and I needed some coconut oil for my hair.
Can you please describe to the jury the circumstances under which you believe you saw the Mixed Chicks product?
Well, I went into the store that particular day to go. I had my girlfriend and my stepdaughter in the car, and went to. So let me go get coconut oil and the ponytail comb, the sharp one that you could part your hair. And as I was in the aisle looking for some other things for the coconut oil, I saw a jar that looked like what my daughter uses because she has very curly hair. She's mixed, so she has very curly hair. And I knew she was running out of product, so I was like, oh, let me get this. So I picked it up, and then I went to the register to purchase. But as purchased my products, coconut oil and the thing, and I had what I thought was the Mixed Chicks. I looked at it and I said, oh, this is not what we have in the house for my daughter, and I didn't want my girlfriend at the time to yell at me for getting the wrong thing. So that's why I don't want it.
Do you remember which specific product it was that you picked up?
It was the same thing as like the jar where you scoop like the jar and twist the top off.
Do you remember what color it was?
It was like white cream color, like a cream color.
And how much time elapsed between the time that you first saw that product and the time that you realized it wasn't Mixed Chicks up at the cash register?
maybe 8 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes, I would say.
And do you remember how
Like
much,
from the aisle to the cashier's table,
from the time you picked up the product to the time that you realized it wasn't mixed chicks at the milk?
about maybe anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes, because I was in a rush, so it was not a rush, but it was raining and I wanted to hurry up so that I could do my hair.
And can you remember how much total time you were in the Sally Beauty store on that day?
10 to 12 minutes, maybe 15.
And what made you think that the product you saw was mixed chicks initially when you picked it up?
Just because I knew what the product looked like, so it just resonated. Oh, this is it, and let me pick it up. And you know, when I'm at the register, I just you look at your things before you purchase it. One last time, you give it one look-see. So I looked and I was like, oh, this is not mixed chicks. So.
And was it always the case that you looked carefully at your products before you checked them out?
Typically I do, and being that it wasn't just specifically for me, it was for my daughter and, my girlfriend, I didn't want to get I wanted to make sure I get the right things because she uses a particular product, and I didn't want to get yelled at my girlfriend. But getting all the way home and like, oh, you got the wrong thing. This is not, what is this? This is not what we use in the house, so.
And do you know if everyone that you know behaves that way?
That's objecting false speculation.
All the products. Ms. Mills, when you were in the Sally Beauty store on that occasion and you said you were looking for a comb and some coconut oil, did you also need some shampoo that day?
No.
Okay. And have you ever contemplated getting some shampoo at Sally Beauty?
I have. For myself?
Yes.
Yeah, I have.
Thank you. No further questions.
Ms. Mills, we haven't met. My name's David Stewart. I'm one of the attorneys for Sally Beauty, and we're going to make this really painless. I'm just going to have a couple of questions and just make sure I'm clear on a couple of things from your testimony. So as I understand it, you saw the product, grabbed it, and did you have a bag or a cart with you, or a little carry crate or anything?
No.
You're just holding it in your hand?
Yes.
And you had some other products?
Yes.
And it was raining outside, I think you said?
Yes.
And you were in a little bit of a hurry?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And wanted to get home, I think you said, to do your hair?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? And so you grabbed the product, as I understand it. But then, when you got to the checkout aisle, then you took a look at it. Is that right? And see if I can find the product. So, is this the product that you saw? Can you tell from there?
Yeah, it's very similar, yes.
Okay, this is Exhibit 153. And so, I want to make sure I got this right, so you get to the register at the Sally Beauty store, and you've got a couple of other products. I think you said you were looking for a pintail comb and coconut oil. Is that right? And is that
yes?
Thank you. And did you have those products with you also when you got to the checkout stand?
Yes.
And so then did you put the products on the counter?
Yes.
But then you took a look at the mixed soap product, right? At the product that you had that you thought was mixed soap.
Yes.
But when you looked at it, you realized it was not actually the mixed six product, right?
Exactly.
And so you didn't buy it, right? Now, you said you work for the LA Sparks?
Yes.
That's great. Congratulations. Now, so Mixed Chicks was a sponsor of the Sparks at some point in time?
After. Way after.
Okay.
The incident happened.
After that incident, but they're not any longer?
No.
But are you hopeful to sign them up as a sponsor again?
Potentially, I don't know.
But you'd like to, wouldn't you?
It could be a possibility.
Okay, but would you like to if you could?
If I could, yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Brief redirection. Ms. Mills, when you took the jar that Ms. Stewart just showed you off the shelf, you had to see it first to get it off the shelf, is that right?
Yes.
So you weren't just trying to grab something else and grab that jar by mistake, is that correct?
No. Well, that's
Right.
correct. That's correct, yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
No further questions?
You missed that down. Thank you.
would you like to do now?
Well, Your Honor, three options, and I would probably play Ms. Jones' video instead of calling Mr. Shorthand, so I'd like to call them all at once on Thursday morning.
How long will that take?
It's actually, it's 23 minutes, and so we can stop at 12 sharp and play more, or we can play it through, and it's up to Your Honor.
I'm rising to say, does this video include the counter designation to which there were no objections or objections were overruled? Yes, sir. The counter designation, the whole point is to be played with the designation, because it's unfair to play the designated testimony without it.
All right.
I'll call Mr.
I think it would be good to get Mr. Skorheim all at once, and the barn awaits. So let's go home. And I just heard someone on the jury say, yes. All right, folks, we've had a very productive and busy week. I commend counsel for the efficient way they've been presenting this case. We'll see you all on, and also I wanted to talk to you briefly before noon, counsel here. We'll see you all on Thursday to start at 9 o'clock. Remember, over the weekend, don't discuss the case, don't be researching any of this, and keep an open mind till the matter is submitted to you. Thank you for your attention. See you next week.
All right.
All right, so be seated. Work on the designations. Please let me know however you wish. If you want me to read further transcripts so we can efficiently proceed when we start out. Understand I will be on the East Coast at the multi-district litigation conference that I'm pretty much required to attend, but we'll see what we can do on that.
Your Honor, on that point, what's the best way to notify you?
It would be to send an email to Ms. Bradall, and she would pass it on to me.
That's what I figured.
Okay. Now, let's see. Mr. Westlaw, I actually think I made a mistake when I was talking about, I was looking for an exemption under 801B2, but I don't think that applies. I think your exemption to the hearsay will apply better. Is there any other things we need to discuss at this time?
Your Honor, two things. One, Ms. Crumps, who will So you already ruled on that, so that's week time total?
Oh, sure. 11:10, 6:20.
I don't have anything else, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
11:10 for the plaintiff, 6:20 for the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. The last issue I had is just on the playing of these designations. We're going to get back into this again on Thursday, I assume, as we close out the case. And you know, I've not ever had a case where the designations, the counters were not played at the same time as the original designation.
You don't have a problem at all doing that. In fact, we sent an email about that last night, and we just didn't hear back. Everybody's real busy, and we'll take care of it.
All right, I apologize, Ken, I didn't see that email.
Okay. Well, I have some cases where it's done that way. In fact, we did it that way here when you presented the counter designations through live testimony.
Yeah, it wasn't my preference, but I understood.
All right. So I think you're going to be busy over the next few days, but as is typical, just find a moment to say settlement to each other and see what happens. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You know, the problem is, in the middle of a lawsuit, I was not a peacemaker. I was a red meat in the mouth fighter. Sometimes I sort of wish I could criticize the news and talk about it for a second. So, but I didn't do that because I didn't want to be weak. I'm removing the appearance that anyone would be weak by raising the subject only because I'm ordering you to do so. And that's the reason why. Okay, thank you. See you next week.
Thank you, Your Honor.